In the 1948 campaign, I supported Thurman for president. Thurman was the states' rights candidate. Okay, there was a little club on Columbia University campus called Students for Thurman. It was a very small club, as you might expect. And this was during the height of political action. Most of the people there on campus were Henry Wallace supporters. Others were Truman supporters, and 2 or 3 Dewey supporters. And here I was, a Thurman supporter. So the Students for Thurman, I remember, had one meeting. And the meeting, there were 4 or 5 members and about 12 or 13 hostile observers who were trying to find out what kind of evil racism is going to be promoted here. And most of the people who got up and spoke were sort of, southern states' rights types. Didn't have much to say. And I got up, here's a New York Jewish lad, I guess, having a passion plea against centralized government for decentralization. I couldn't understand this at all. Anyway, the Students for Thurman Club did not flourish. That was my one experience with it. At any rate, we had, as I say, about 6 or 7 people or something in this little circle Bastia. We got along very well. I think it was very happy times. Small in number, but pure in spirit. And arguing.
You're 6 minutes away from a live episode of Free Talk Live. Listen live at freetalklive.com.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,475, silver at $16.86, and Bitcoin is trading around $7,183. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing 1 or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, the Federal Bureau of Investigation is teaming up with the Post Office to make sure they've got your fingerprints. Even though it wasn't that long ago that people were warned about sharing their DNA with ancestry sites, it seems they might have reason to be concerned now about the FBI's desire to snag your fingerprints. The government has announced a new program in which they hope people will voluntarily give their fingerprints. As the public has become more aware of such privacy concerns, it seems strange that last week the FBI announced a new partnership with the Post Office, where customers can voluntarily provide them with their fingerprints while you're doing your mail. According to FBI.gov, for a fee, the FBI can provide individuals with an identity history summary, often referred to as a criminal history record or a rap sheet, listing certain information taken from fingerprint submissions kept by the FBI and related to arrests, and in some instances, federal employment, naturalization, or military service. However, activist Post reports there are ways to get the information without giving your fingerprints to the FBI, as most of such information is public record anyway. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. A poll published last week by the Pew Research Center shows that 56% of Mexicans view the United States as the greatest threat. Most Mexicans identify just one as a real danger. Other countries surveyed, including Turkey, Argentina, and Brazil, also overwhelmingly identified the United States as their country's greatest threat. The study also showed that there has been a serious reduction in those who identify the U.S. as a dependable ally. In 2007, 63% of Kenyans saw the United States as a dependable ally, but today that number has dropped to 35%. According to a study published in the journal Biomass and Bioenergy earlier this year, planting more hemp could help to maintain bee populations, which have become dangerously low in recent years. The Mind Unleashed reports the study was conducted by researchers at Colorado State University, who set up harm-free traps for bees at large hemp farms throughout the state, They spent about 5 days during a peak growing season collecting bees from the various farms to see how many were attracted to the hemp crops. The researchers noted in their study that since hemp plants produce large amounts of pollen, bees are often attracted to them. However, the researchers also voiced concerns that there will be an issue with pests on the crops as the industry expands. That could lead to companies using various pesticides, which will interfere with their ability to pollinate and could even potentially harm the bees. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
According to a groundbreaking study on anxiety disorders published this week in the New England Journal of Medicine, researchers have discovered that feelings of anxiety can be completely resolved as long as people think about them real hard.
After studying subjects with mild to chronic anxiety disorders, we found that the best way to overcome mental stress is to isolate the root of the anxiety, analyze it from every possible angle, and then think about it nonstop until it completely disappears.
Researchers worked with numerous subjects in the middle of high-stress scenarios and said the key to overcoming anxiety is to start by focusing on a minor problem, list everything that can go wrong in the worst-case scenario, and then repeat that list in your head 200 times. After anywhere between 3 to 6 hours of perpetually torturing yourself over things outside of your control, all feelings of anxiety will completely disappear, and you can finally enjoy the remainder of your day.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. Call in and talk about whatever is on your mind. That number is 855-450-3733. Again, that's 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live. With you tonight, it's Aria.
And Jay.
And evidently, socialism kills a lot of people. Now, this is not a surprise to either of us, I'm sure.
No, not at all. I mean, I've known this my entire life, pretty much.
But young people, people my age, in fact, seem to not understand that socialism has a long and bloody history, and that at some point, it should just be given up as a bad idea.
I mean, people of all generations don't understand this because they have just been being programmed by, this mushroom management style cultivation of everyone's minds through public school and media and, cable news. I mean, a lot of old people just watch cable news is where they get spoon-fed their propaganda, and a lot of young people just, worship all things that are give me free stuff.
They do, and that's sad. It's the reason why Bernie Sanders, as I understand it, is currently leading the Democratic ticket, I guess. I think in Nevada, though, so it's only like one state.
Well, I
But
mean,
still.
he's popular with a lot of
Idiots?
Ignorant people. I guess they could be called idiots. I mean, it's not like...
I call people who choose to deliberately ignore facts idiots.
Yep, and people who just aren't aware would be ignorant. So, yeah, there's a lot of both. But, I mean, the thing is people like you and I haven't really had discussions with a lot of these young college kids that love and embrace socialism. And another thing is I'm pretty good at having conversation with socialists because a lot of them haven't really ever heard the ideas of liberty. Nobody ever said, well, we haven't really had actual true capitalism. And, if you and I each throw in $5 and not, I buy a table and you buy the sugar and, lemonade mix, and that's our capital, and it would be this lemonade stand maybe. Is what I like to use. And
my experience with college-age kids right now is a little bit different. Generally, they do like the ideas of socialism, the idea of big government, and many of them are more than willing to say that, security, economic security as provided by the state is preferable to freedom.
I've
talked with people who have said legitimately that, if you don't want to voluntarily contribute to charity, then yes, it's okay to put a gun to your head and force you to.
Oh, well, so I've met some of those folks. The college kids I've interacted with 3 years ago, interacted with a lot at UMass. We talked a lot about this stuff. And recently it's been New England College here, which is a liberal arts school here in New Hampshire. And because it's right down the road from my house. And what I've definitely found is they're like that snowflake mentality.
Sure.
Like if they're just like got this like charge in them that just ignites is when they meet someone who has a differing view or opinion. And they don't all
so you
have
mean
it,
they
but a lot, some
flip
of them
out
do.
and start screaming and they just cannot process what you're saying?
They can't process what you're saying because it goes against everything they've been, programmed to believe. Like my John Stossel does a really good video where he says he talks about taxation from the form of, if I forced you to buy a product from me, forced you to donate to my charity or to a charity, can I do that? Can I make you donate $100 right now to the American Heart and Lung Foundation? He goes, no, you can't. You can't. All the kids are like, no, you can't do that. So I've kind of done that a little bit with them, and that's like, and then they're like,
somewhat effective, I imagine.
Yeah, actually, it's just trying to think here because I've kind of had several different interactions in the past several months. But
see,
none
when
of
they
them
think of socialism, they don't think of Venezuela or North Korea or the Soviet Union or any of the other myriad socialist states that have failed.
Well, many of them don't even know a definition of socialism.
Right. They think it just means like free government health care, free education, and things like that. And those are methods of socialism. Those are applications of socialism, certainly. But in order to pay for all of that, in order to do all of that, there's this huge litany of things that go along with it that are absolutely tragic.
And we are experiencing many, many elements of socialism right now.
Certainly.
But as Ron Paul puts it, I just listened to his Ron Paul report or whatever it's called a couple hours ago. He said something like, United States is able to export the basically the inflation of U.S. dollars.
Right.
Like we don't really see it right here in this country like it is seen around the world, and that's all, and that's done in two different ways. First off, financially, and second off, we just bomb the ever living daylights out of any nation that is like we don't want to do dollars. That's been like the military financial policy my entire life. I've been around for 40 years.
Right. Wasn't that ultimately the reason for the invasion of Iraq? Is that they wanted to only accept gold in exchange for their oil or something to that effect?
If you remember Freedom Fries and the people smashing the bottles of French wine in the streets on cable network TV.
I remember rolling my eyes and being ashamed of the human race that they changed the name of French fries to Freedom Fries because of 9/11 and a magic flag and all of that.
Well, it was because Saddam wanted to do a trade oil for essentially French franc because he was it was the way I understand it, Saddam believed that the franc was partially gold back, and the understanding that the United States just has this printing press and can keep on cranking out, digital dollars all at once. With
they don't even need the printing press now. It's just all digital,
right? And
they can create as much of it as they want instantaneously. That's how the United States ended up with a $21 trillion debt, which is a number so large that even the most insane mathematician is looking at it and saying it's a really big number. It's a number that's impossible.
Speaking of insane, there are some insane facts that are happening right now. We're in an interesting time in history. So for 2 years...
I think human beings always are.
Yes. For 2 years now, it's definitely interesting for most of us just being alive, essentially, which I guess is always happening too. But for 2 years now, Russia has been out producing the United States in wheat and corn.
Okay.
And they're doing it without GMOs.
Okay.
Brazil this year is going to outproduce the United States in soybeans. The United States has very little demand for its grains on an international scale, for its wheat, for its corn, for its soybeans.
Well, because there's no way it's economically feasible to ship grain halfway around the world when it can be grown locally, right?
Well, actually, it's very inexpensive to ship anything out of the U.S. to Asia because there's a lot of ships going back to Asia empty.
Okay.
In fact, one of the biggest crops that's shipped out of New Hampshire internationally is logs. Are shipped out of Boston and New Bedford, Mass, and Providence, Rhode Island, and they're used as ballast in the bottom of ships going back to Europe. And then they're ground up and they're burnt for energy in Europe. It is a huge freaking scam. It is costing the European people a ton of money. Very few people even understand this is going on in electricity because they're literally shipping trees from, New England and New York back to, over to England, Europe to burn for electricity because they're so anti-coal and it costs like 10 times more than coal to do this.
I mean, that seems like the kind of way that governments solve problems in general. It's like, okay, we need to ban coal, but what are we going to burn in order to create the steam that ultimately powers our electric system? And they say, okay, well, we'll buy wood from America.
Yeah, and it's all subsidized in the whole 9 yards. But anyways, so basically what I was getting to, there's really no need for the world to utilize a dollar. The United States is now a net exporter.
Well, it could use Bitcoin for sure.
Right, but the United States is not a net exporter of crops anymore, and it is not a big importer. It's actually an exporter of crude oil now. So I saw that recently, that the United States was the largest oil producer in the world now. Yep, and then
also the largest oil consumer, I believe. But
so now the emerging nations that are having a tough time feeding themselves have a really good choice, and they can go to Russia and buy GMO-free crops that aren't government subsidized. Maybe they aren't, or they can go to the United States.
They're subsidized
and buy our very over-subsidized crops, or they can now choose from Brazil to buy crops, which is there's no need for a dollar anymore.
Competition is always a good thing, whether it's locally, nationally, or internationally. 855-450-3733.
She seems happier. Her fur is so much shinier, silkier, softer. She has really mellowed a lot.
Sheba is 105 lean pounds of shiny, smooth, happy dog for life.
The shedding has stopped. The itching has stopped.
Since 2001, we've helped more than 250,000 dogs get over their nutritional deficiency miseries.
And saved our customers bazillions in vet bills.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Come to Dynovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
The omega-3 fatty acids,
flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa,
the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
Dynovite is nutrition.
Dynovite for life.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dynovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Do you like going to your job every day? Can you set your own schedule and take long vacations whenever you want? Are you free to do whatever you want in your dating or sex life? I'm Caleb Jones, and I've taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create low-work, high-income businesses and how to date women under your terms. Come to our free webinar with a live Q&A with me so you can learn how to create location-independent income and date women the way you want. Go to alpha.freetalklive.com.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McIlvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com.
Excuse me, is this where I get a license to start a new business?
I wouldn't be hasty. You have to get a license to go out of business, too, you know.
Oh, well, look, I've invented this little anti-gravity machine, see?
Oh, is that why you're walking 2 inches above the floor?
Oh, yes, it's very comfortable. It saves on shoe leather.
Yeah, well, you have to fill out these forms and report to the Human Services Department of Manpower Orientation and register with the Fair Employment Practice Commission, the Wage and Hour Division of the Employment Standards Administration, the State Sales and Income Tax Division, the Internal Revenue Service, and the Social Security Administration of the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, and, of course, OSHA.
OSHA? I thought that was a little town in Wisconsin.
You'll find out. Say, floating around like that could be dangerous. Have you checked with the Consumer Product Safety Commission?
Well, not yet.
Come to think of it, you actually are flying, aren't you? Look, you need to go over to the Federal Aviation Administration and the Transportation...
It's very hard to get anything done these days if you're in business, but free enterprise built this country. Think what could happen if we don't keep it free. A public service of this station and the Center for the Defense of Free Enterprise, Bellevue, Washington.
We just can't have people floating about unregulated, you know.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. You can call in and talk about whatever is on your mind. That toll-free number's 855-450-3733. And with you tonight, it's Aria.
And Jay.
And you know, I was almost late here to the studio because I was over there at the Thirsty Owl for the crypto meetup for this week. And we had a discussion about people who had missed the boat, right, when it comes to cryptocurrency. People who felt like, oh no, I wish I had bought Bitcoin when it was $5 and then $50 and then $500. And
there's a boat to the blockchain every second, right?
Right.
Just grab another one.
That was exactly
right
our point. It's like, well, then get on the boat now. You know, we're literally doing everything we can to get people to just get on the boat. If you want to
so
get
many people
on the
just whine about
cryptocurrency boat, check out local.bitcoin.com. It's a trading platform where you can buy and sell Bitcoin Cash using dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. So finally, a global trading platform that respects our privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. Don't be looking up 2 or 3 years from now saying, I wish I had bought Bitcoin Cash when it was $200 each. Well, then buy it.
People constantly whine about what they should have done. You know, when I was a teenager, it was, I should have, got this whatever rookie sports ball card, or, right. Constantly. Don't worry, you can't change the past. You can only forge the future.
And you can speculate based on the past what is likely to happen in the future. And I would say that what is likely to happen, tragic though it is that so many of these people are going to be looking back in 3 years saying, I wish I had bought Bitcoin when it was $10,000. And then again, I wish I had bought it when it was $50,000 and then $500,000. And eventually it's just going to get to the point where they have to buy into it because it's the standard currency accepted around the world. But until then, they're going to continue pining about how they missed the boat.
Like that Peter Schiff, this is a YouTuber. He's like, Bitcoin crashed to $120. Bitcoin crashed to $300. Bitcoin crashed to $1,200. Bitcoin crashed to $3,000. He just
right.
And he's another one.
It certainly fluctuates. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But the USD also fluctuates. Only it tends to go in the opposite direction. The USD only gets less valuable as time goes on, and Bitcoin, throughout its history, has only gotten more valuable, significantly more valuable.
And when it comes to the the fiat, the USD fluctuation, a lot of people don't notice it because, for example, look at eggs.
Well, McDonald's used to have a dollar menu. They
Sure.
no longer do. They have a value menu, but I don't think you can buy anything. There may be a small fry or something that costs only $1. That is the inflation of the USD.
Well, but all the ingredients in that, yeah, but the inflation is much more extreme than anybody really realizes, because like all the ingredients in that McDonald's food comes from all government subsidized food. And when they talk about, you can still go buy a loaf for 89 cents, a loaf of bread for 89 cents if you shop around, like at Walmart.
Random question. Why is milk so cheap here in New Hampshire?
Because it is heavily subsidized. Milk is...
Because when I lived in Mississippi, a gallon of milk was like $4.50. Here, you can get
which is still wicked cheap. Have you ever milked a cow before?
I cannot say that I have, but here it's a third of that for a gallon of milk.
Yeah, so we're in a very heavy dairy-rich area.
Okay.
So there's a lot of them have gone out of business, but 20 years ago, in New England, New York, basically the whole northern area of the country, northeast area anyways, there was, several of these, 50 head or 25 head dairy farms per town. I mean, there was probably 50 years ago a dairy farm that you could walk to right from here and buy milk and cheese.
How much milk do you get from your average non-steroided out cow?
So it depends on the breed. So like,
because obviously with a chicken, you're not really going to get a whole lot of meat from it unless you got one of these Tyson chickens that are just loaded up with so many steroids they can't even walk.
Oh, you can buy them for right on the internet. You could buy day-old chicks that are the the Kentucky Fried Chicken whatever bird, and they in 8 weeks they can't walk anymore if you feed them enough.
Right. So, I mean, not one of those steroid cows, right?
So,
but like a normal, healthy, natural, not pumped full of steroids cow.
So an heirloom cow, which has been around for decades, like Jerseys are your most popular heirloom cow. They're the ones that are brown and white. And I think they're the prettiest cows. But anyways, a Jersey cow that's like you're just like feeding in a pasture and not pushing hard, 30 pounds of milk a day.
How many pints or gallons is that going to be?
There's like 8.3 pounds in a gallon of milk, so it's like 25 pounds is roughly 3 gallons, so you're going to get like 3 2/3 gallons per day out of that cow.
That's more than I would have expected.
Now you take that same cow and you feed it, put it on Monsanto's program.
Oh, well, sure. You'll also have a sick cow. And sick people.
So there's all different levels to this. You can just start adding corn, and the cow's going to produce a little more milk.
But they're not supposed to eat corn, correct?
They're not. The corn's very hard for these animals to digest. Actually, the best thing to do with corn is to ferment it, extract the alcohol, and then feed it to the cows or the goats.
Let them have a little...
No, well, there's no alcohol in it. You just you extract the alcohol. Basically, you convert the starch in the corn into alcohol due to fermenting, and then you press all the the corn out, and you get what's called dry distiller's grain that has all the fat, all the protein, all the minerals, in fact, increased minerals and nutrients because it's been fermented, but none of the starch or very little of the starch. And this corn is very, very starchy, which makes it difficult for mammals to break down. But when you take that cow that produces 35 pounds of milk that's just on grass and you start putting them on corn, they'll produce 40, 45 pounds, and then you can hit them with a hormone and it'll up it another 10%. Now you take a Holstein cow, which is essentially a man-engineered hybridized cow that was developed in Ellington, Connecticut in 1976, was the first Holstein cow that I'm aware of. And on what I call udder pus factories, what are these, 7,000, 8,000 head dairies that are owned by like Dole and Coca-Cola. They're in Western New York. They're in Colorado.
Right.
They give them hormones. Those cows will produce 125 to 130 pounds of milk per day.
And they're also perpetually locked in a steel cage where they have absolutely no room to move. They probably have hoses and crap hooked up to them all the time to suck every ounce of milk out of them.
So they milk them 3 times a day. They have a 100-head rotating carousel. For example, the one dairy I worked on was 6,200 head in Roggen, Colorado. And they kept the place as clean as they could, but it's a factory. And those places, as far as I'm concerned, the cows are borderline sick. So that's why I call them udder pus factories.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, it's animal cruelty. And what the amount of corn in just the American diet in general would also qualify as animal cruelty because people go to Walmart to buy their cat food. They go to Costco or wherever to buy their cat food.
Oh, it's really tough on dogs. Well, corn
and
so
it's
cheap.
Just corn. It's like 50% corn, which cats and dogs aren't supposed to even eat.
because it's dirt cheap. Going back to, we don't see inflation. If you're going to buy eggs, for example, from at a farmer's market, you're going to pay $4 to $5 a dozen, but you can walk right into Safeway or Walmart or whatever and buy them for 69 cents a dozen, because those chickens are fed subsidized feed.
Yeah, and on top of that, the government gives those companies money and tax breaks and all kinds of crap to make it even cheaper.
Yeah, protectionism at its finest.
It's extensively problematic. 855-450-3733. Let us know what you think.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. Local.bitcoin.com.
Ever wanted to hook up with an attractive woman, but you couldn't because you were already in a relationship? Ever wanted to earn high income on low work hours? I'm Caleb Jones, and I've taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create low work, high income businesses and how to date women under your terms. Come to our free webinar with a live Q&A with me so you can learn how to create location independent income and date women the way you want. Go to alpha.freetalklive.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it.
Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing. To be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. Call in and talk about whatever is on your mind. That number is 855-450-3733. And with you tonight is Aria.
And Jay.
I want to tell you about the Edge wallet because it's the mobile wallet that I use primarily. I absolutely love it. It doesn't use any of that stupid 24, 14-word passphrase nonsense that so many other wallets do. There is such a system that allows you to create a hard, completely disconnected backup, but you don't really have to worry about it. It's available for both iOS and Android, and it allows you to both buy, well, not both, but it allows you to buy, sell, trade, and hold cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, Bitcoin Core, tokens, Monero, Ripple, Stellar, and so many more. Their tagline is secure your freedom. You always control the private keys when you use the Edge wallet. There's none of that custodial nonsense like you get with Coinbase and so many of these other wallets running around out there. So go check it out. You can find it at edge.app or on the Google Play and iOS stores. Again, that's edge.app. So we're talking about food in general here. And we began by talking
subsidies, really.
Yeah. We began by talking about this conversation sort of along socialist lines. And, you know, all of this sort of plays together. Of course, in socialist Venezuela, they don't have food to have this discussion about because of socialism.
Well, because what happened is the government subsidized everything. And then the
Well, that would be more fascism in my definitions of them. But see, in fascism, the government uses these quasi-private corporations as intermediaries to exercise its control by using subsidies and tax breaks and things like that.
Yeah, fascism is when governments and corporations work together for an agenda.
Right. And socialism is just the government doing it directly. And somehow one of those is supposed to be better than the other. And I guess in the grand scheme of things, fascism is proving to be a little bit more long-lived.
But they're all steps
socialism
to tyranny is what they are, essentially.
They are, absolutely.
So, like, I've often said that, you know, the United States is not a democracy. The word democracy is not in the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, or any state constitution.
Well, nobody ever wanted it to be a democracy until... When was the modern Democratic Party formed? I mean, that's what the entire rift between Republicans and Democrats is about, is that Democrats... allegedly, and this is no longer the case because so many of these people don't even know this today, but they want it to be a democracy, while Republicans, in theory, want it to remain a republic.
Well, I would say the democracy essentially started with Executive Order number 1, March 31st, 1862, where Lincoln, called the, military to come stand guard at the White House. This is like the very beginnings of the Civil War, because the constitutional republic has essentially never been, restored if you're a constitutionalist buff. And this is actually in 1973 to 93rd Congress, the opening of the Congress. I believe the guy's name is Mick Elroy. I could be wrong. It could be McFadden, but he opens up Congress talking about how Congress has been under a state of national emergency ever since Lincoln. I mean, the country and the Constitution has essentially been set aside. So that's why where I'd say the democracy started, because all democracy is mob rule.
Certainly.
And the only difference really with our republic is, your rights, my rights go as far as your rights. Where my right starts to step on your right, that's where it stops. So I can't step on your rights.
There was a little bit of right stomping allowed within the Constitution, but it was much more constrained than what would find in a democratic society, certainly.
So, yeah, I like to say, our constitutional republic is two foxes. A democracy is two foxes and a chicken deciding what's for dinner, and our constitutional republic, the chicken is very heavily armed, or you just can't eat chicken.
Could there not be, however, a constitutional republic? A constitutional democracy. I'm sorry.
Well, sure, if the Constitution called for a democracy and where a majority rules, yeah. I mean, whatever the Constitution says is whatever it's supposed to be. So,
okay, but could we not
China's
have
got a constitution, right?
Could we not have these same safeguards within a democracy that was supposed to be within the republic?
I don't believe...
Instead of two foxes and a hen deciding on what's for dinner, the hen has the Constitution on their side protecting themselves from being eaten.
Well, the idea of the republic is 99.9% can't vote away the rights of the 0.01%. And in a democracy, the idea is it's just mob rule.
Well, no.
51% tells 49% what to do, right?
Sure, but that could easily be true in a republic as well.
It could be if it was said, but
it's
a
supposed to be
whatever.
the Constitution that provides those safeguards to prevent the 99.19% from doing that to the 0.1%. We could have that same constitutional framework within a democratic society that prevents the 51% from doing that to the 49%.
And then it would be essentially I would say a Republican form of Republican
it would be
form
a
of government.
constitutional democracy.
Yeah, Republican form constitutional. Now we're calling it a democratic Republican form of government is what's kind of been spun over the years.
Well, Republican is, as I understand it, is about representation.
Okay.
And
representation of the individual. That's the idea of our republic. Says it right in the the greatest majority.
Well, another person can never truly represent me, or my desires, or my wishes, or my goals.
That's why you can't stop. The majority can't stop on the rights of the individual.
That's why I'm an anarchist.
Yeah, well,
honestly,
that's why I'm a non-anarchist also.
But you could have the same framework within a democracy without the representatives, where you have the entire society voting on whether or not to go to war with Syria or whatever, instead of having these representatives do it.
And that would be fine, actually, because
as far as governments go,
that's essentially the way capitalism works. If Company A builds a car, but Company B builds a much better car, and Company A never makes their car any better, and now it even costs more because of whatever reason, Company A goes out of business. So that right there is the majority essentially voting with their wallet. And
capitalism is the purest form of democracy. I would agree entirely.
And with today we live in a world of abundance. We have all this technology. We got this blockchain technology. There really is, no need for any being to really be our representatives. We can all self-represent via blockchain technology somehow. I don't know enough about how to implement that and make that a real thing, but
we all represent ourselves every single day. I don't know to what extent we would have to represent ourselves more so than we already are.
Well, everybody's
we
representing
just have to get rid of the state.
Right. Everybody's representing themselves in coordinates with the state, in line with the state. And but the state is irrelevant now. And we got to just mature a little bit more, as a society, and hopefully that'll New Hampshire here, a bunch of us moving here will lead the way to that. That's what I'm hoping for.
I prefer the idea of bleeding the state dry.
There's all kinds of great tactics.
Yeah, the cryptocurrency is an awesome mechanism for doing that.
Yes, and that's what I love most about cryptocurrency is that it takes the power away from the Wall Street elitists, and it gives me, you, and the goat farmer in Sierra Leone all have basically the same currency power or energy monetization power with cryptocurrency.
These gold backs are also a really good way of doing that. I don't know if you've
I've got a couple.
Them.
Yeah. They're awesome.
They are. And they will work in the event of a collapsed society. Like if the internet goes down, your Bitcoin is kind of useless.
I got to pick up some more gold backs. I gave them all away.
I do too. Well, I didn't give all mine away, but I guess I kind of did. But I do need to acquire some more, certainly. Because, the whole idea of Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash or whatever cryptocurrency becoming the dominant currency, it's 100% dependent upon internet connections existing.
Yes.
If those don't exist, you've got nothing.
And that's what's so awesome about the gold backs is they stack like cash in your wallet.
Yeah, and they literally have the gold within them. So, problem solved.
Solved big problem. Silver Dave, a good friend of mine, had Sons of Liberty Mint, and he was a guy that was mass producing 10th ounce silver pieces to get, because fractional silver, during the apocalypse, you want small denominations of precious metals because you don't want to have to spend a whole ounce of gold to buy a chicken.
And large denominations of lead.
Yes.
855-450-3733. What are your thoughts on currency? Is the USD just fine as it is? 855-450-3733.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
When you have a pain in the neck, a real pain in the neck, back, shoulder, or legs, you now have 2 convenient choices to get fast relief without taking another pill. Because now, Sunny Bay heating wraps and pillows are available at both Amazon and Walmart. Yes, see Sunny Bay's 4.5 to 5-star customer reviews on Amazon.com or Walmart.com. Our microwavable heat wraps, heatable neck pillows, and extra large body wraps are designed better for perfect support where and when you need it. Even while driving, Sunny Bay wraps will not burn and stay balanced to provide soothing hot or cold therapy to help treat temporary or chronic pain. And the best part, Sunny Bay quality products start at under $20. Join thousands of happy customers and see why Sunny Bay products have a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy. It's easy. Click Amazon or Walmart and search today for Sunny Bay.
This is Fred.
Hi, I'm Fred.
Fred's a repeater.
I tend to repeat.
Fred has a business.
I do have a business.
And a problem. Fred repeats the same tired advertising over and over, and now it doesn't work.
Over and over.
But Fred is about to see a vision.
I'm seeing a vision.
Advertising on the Genesis Communications Network is the smart way for Fred to reach his potential customers with the most affordable national advertising rates, period. Get started today with GCN, the Genesis Communications Network. Just email advertise@gcnlive.com.
If you're looking for work, it's a process of elimination, and you're trying not to be eliminated. So here's a tip for making the cut, and this might seem subtle, but to the person interviewing you, it's not. There is a world of difference between applicants who convey, "I need a job," and those who simply ooze, "I want to work," especially in these lean times when many you're competing with will seem desperate in "I'll take anything" mode. If you convey specific interest in this job at this company, you will be conspicuous. Thus, the value of going to school on the company you're applying to before the interview. With money and attention so tight now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips for job seekers and everyone else, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. Give us a call. Our toll-free number is 855-450-3733. And with you tonight, it's Aria.
And Jay.
And finally getting into this article about socialism here, a lot of it's fluff, and that bothers me because a lot of it's just recounting personal anecdotes and things like that. I'm not particularly interested in that. The author, however, which comes to us from Reason.com, is called Socialism Killed My Father, points out that nearly 100 million people have perished from communism worldwide. 65 million in the People's Republic of China, 20 million in the former Soviet Union, 2 million in Cambodia, 2 million in North Korea, and I mean, it just goes on and on and on, with various experiments across Eastern Europe, Latin America, Africa, and Asia, all combining to total about 65 million people killed for this ideology. And I know people out there will say, oh, well, it wasn't real communism, it wasn't real socialism, but I don't think the dead people really want to hear that.
There was actually a example of real socialism, and it would have been Syria under Gaddafi. Gaddafi built this great river. What they were drilling for oil.
Syria is Assad. Gaddafi was Libya.
I'm sorry, Libya. Thank you for the correction.
No problem.
So Libya, that's right. Libya, Africa. Gaddafi was working on the African currency, gold back. They had built this great river. There's a really good documentary called The Great River, and he lived in a modest, rich dude's house. He didn't live in like $1 billion compound. He lived
like our governors do.
Yeah,
the presidents do.
Right. I mean, this guy lived in like something you would see, on A1A in Miami Beach.
Okay.
Something like that. Some millionaire's joint, but it wasn't like a huge fortified compound like most government agent or most of these presidents or representatives live in. And like the people had a lot of free things from the oil, like free electricity, and basically he did redistribute the riches of essentially that land and the minerals to the people. And he had to be done away with and a bunch of propaganda. And I'm not going to say he was a good guy or anything because I don't know. But the facts is that he wanted the gold-backed currency. He wanted the people to hold gold. And it was, from what I can tell and what I've understood about it, and Professor CJ, he's on the LRN broadcast, Professor CJ's Dangerous Podcast, does a really good synopsis of Libya and Gaddafi and stuff, and he's a big time history buff. That guy does a great job talking about it.
I will admit that communism rather, I don't care anything about socialism because it uses the state as an intermediary for all of this, and I oppose the state on philosophical grounds. But communism as an idea, I totally get why people are enamored with it. It sounds great. However, attempting to implement it has been absolutely disastrous. It's always led to socialist dictators. And they've, except perhaps in the case of Gaddafi, I don't know anything about his economic policies.
It was very short-lived.
But even if we accept him, every other case has led to a totalitarian regime, massive amounts of starvation, massive amounts of death in the streets, people drinking sewage water, whatever you end up with in Venezuela. It's just an absolute disaster. And the same argument applies when when I tell them I'm an anarcho-capitalist, and they're like, oh, well, you're living in this pipe dream. You require a utopian worldview and all humans to think and act a certain way for this to even work. What if one person even decides they don't want to cooperate? Your entire system crumbles. Okay.
That's socialism.
That's your system too. You get that, right? And they don't.
Well,
I get it. In theory, communism, it sounds just as good as anarcho-capitalism. The difference is that anarcho-capitalism is a little bit easier to achieve, and it doesn't kill anybody if you attempt to achieve it.
Or if you just walk away from it, it doesn't kill anybody either.
That's true. Communists will shoot you for trying to leave.
Yeah, you better worship this flag. You better stand and pledge allegiance. It doesn't matter if you're in North Korea or at a sports ball game in the Midwest.
That's an interesting question. Has there been a socialist regime that did not utilize nationalism in order to keep its people under its sway? Now, I know we have this in North Korea with North Koreans believing in North Korean superiority and things like that. We also have it in China. Does the same thing exist in every socialist regime?
I haven't been to any of them, so I can't answer that question, but it'd be great if somebody...
avoid them.
Maybe Lily Tang can call us and tell us something. I don't know if she's listening, but she grew up in communist China. She can tell you all about that.
I would love to hear from someone who has actually lived beneath the tyrannical heel of a socialist or communistic society. Government, rather.
And all the famous...
855-450-3733. By the way, if you're one of those people, call and let us know. Are we getting it right or are we getting it wrong? Because I'm not aware of any any person who came to the U.S. from the Soviet Union who was like, yeah, you guys should try this communism thing. Like you have Gary Kasparov and so many others who have come here and they're like, hey, by the way, you college kids are out here advocating this. I came from it. Everyone there nearly died.
Yeah, you ever drive a Yugo?
Me?
Yeah.
I have not.
Anybody who's ever driven a Yugo understands why communism is bad.
What is a Yugo?
A Yugo is a piece of crap car that came out of communist Russia, essentially.
Okay.
It's like
I'm not surprised.
It's just a very basic, no frills, unsafe.
It's the people's car.
It's a junker. I mean, it's, they don't when you have no competition, you don't have to do anything. When government controls all sectors of the economy.
Look at the United States Post Office. They don't have to do anything. Here in New Hampshire, if you have snow in front of your mailbox, they're going to keep driving right past it. They're the United States Postal Service. Rain, sleet, or snow, whatever, right? No, because they don't have any competition. FedEx will find their way to my door.
They will drive through the 3-foot snowbank, or they will park out in a road. I've watched a guy basically, climb the 3-foot snowbank and bring the thing and put it on you hand it right to you. Open up the door in your dress and they just hand it right to you.
Amazon basically has drones and rockets and will fire what you order and have it land on your door. But the United States Postal Service can't be bothered to get out of their truck and walk 2 feet to the mailbox.
My local Amazon delivery guy is awesome. I had my gun on a couple weeks ago in the yard, and he shows up on a Sunday morning, and he's like, "You open carry?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, thank you. That's great." I go, "Do you carry?" He goes,
That's weird being thanked for that.
Yeah. Oh, I get almost every time I open carry, somebody thanks me.
I guess it's better than, just walking up to random soldiers being like, "Thank you for your service." That's always weird too.
And I always thank people that I see open carrying also. But the Amazon delivery guy is
I don't know why.
Is a big time gun enthusiast. I'm like, you can't carry on a job. He's no, Jeff won't let us. He don't like guns.
Sucks to be him.
So anyways, back to socialism. So in all these famous socialist experiments that have failed, like in Venezuela, what happened with the food supply is the farmers were basically told to produce. First, the farmers were subsidized to produce the food cheaper.
Well, in North Korea, aren't the people being told they have to provide like a ton of human manure a day in order? Have you heard this?
Well, I don't know how that's possible.
It's completely not possible. It's a way of fining them, because governments love to do that. So, you didn't meet your manure quota. Here's a fine. It's a way of taxing the people without calling it a tax, just like the governments here do with, vehicle registration and inspection stickers and that kind of nonsense.
I don't see how that's that don't make sense to me. I don't understand it.
No, it doesn't make any sense at all. I will find it though.
Yeah, you find it. So with the government subsidizing the farms, what happened in Venezuela not too long ago is that people couldn't afford the food in the grocery stores. So what the government started doing was subsidizing the food at the grocery store level. So what happened is people started buying more food because it got cheap, and they started putting food away. And then they started smuggling food to Colombia. And now the food started selling for below cost, so people are consuming a lot of food, whether it's being smuggled across the border or it's being hoarded. And then the farmers were like, yeah, we can't produce it this cheap anymore. So the government essentially took over the farms, and the farmers that could leave, they went to Brazil. This is one reason Brazil has become such an agricultural powerhouse, because all of the successful Venezuelan farmers got the heck out of Venezuela years ago when this was happening. And then the ones that were left there, they just basically, you're a slave on your farm, or they gave up or whatever. So Venezuela's got this, some of the best lush growing soil and conditions in the world, and they can't feed their own country barely because the government took over the farm. Same thing happened when Russia crashed. And
so let me interrupt you here.
Yep.
I found it. Evidently, the North Korean government requires its citizens to each produce 100 kilograms of human feces a day to be used as fertilizer. And if they do not meet that quota, which obviously they cannot, that's, the average human's body weight in feces a day, then they have to pay a huge fine.
So it's
evidently. And that's coming from the sunco.co.uk. It's also available on AOL.com and some other places. 855-450-37.
Balance of nature. Changing the world, one life at a time. I started taking them about 7.5 years ago. It was right after I lost my husband. My husband passed away. I was grieving so bad I wasn't eating at all. I mean, I just didn't care. And so I heard the advertisements on the radio, and I thought, well, my family's upset about me. I got to get myself straight, and I started taking them. So I always say they kind of saved my life, you know. They gave me back my life. I would say that.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. Call or go online now and become a preferred customer, which gives you our best pricing and free shipping. And we will take an additional 35% off of your first order. This will be a limited time offer, so don't wait. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code FTL.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,475, silver at $16.86, and Bitcoin is trading around $7,183. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, the Federal Bureau of Investigation is teaming up with the Post Office to make sure they've got your fingerprints. Even though it wasn't that long ago that people were warned about sharing their DNA with ancestry sites, it seems they might have reason to be concerned now about the FBI's desire to snag your fingerprints. The government has announced a new program in which they hope people will voluntarily give their fingerprints. As the public has become more aware of such privacy concerns, it seems strange that last week the FBI announced a new partnership with the Post Office, where customers can voluntarily provide them with their fingerprints while you're doing your mail. According to FBI.gov, for a fee, the FBI can provide individuals with an identity history summary, often referred to as a criminal history record or a rap sheet, listing certain information taken from fingerprint submissions kept by the FBI and related to arrests, and in some instances, federal employment, naturalization, or military service. However, activists post reports there are ways to get the information without giving your fingerprints to the FBI, as most of such information is public record anyway. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. A poll published last week by the Pew Research Center shows that 56% of Mexicans view the United States as the greatest threat to their country. Russia and China came in an extremely distant second and third, with 6% and 5% respectively. Thus, of the 195 states recognized by the United Nations, most Mexicans identified just one as a real danger. Other countries surveyed, including Turkey, Argentina, and Brazil, also overwhelmingly identified the United States as their country's greatest threat. The study also showed that there has been a serious reduction in those who identify the U.S. as a dependable ally. In 2007, 63% of Kenyans saw the United States as a dependable ally. But today, that number has dropped to 35%. According to a study published in the journal Biomass and Bioenergy earlier this year, planting more hemp could help to maintain bee populations, which have become dangerously low in recent years. The Mind Unleashed reports the study was conducted by researchers at Colorado State University, who set up harm-free traps for bees at large hemp farms throughout the state. They spent about 5 days during a peak growing season collecting bees from the various farms to see how many were attracted to the hemp crops. The researchers noted in their study that since hemp plants produce large amounts of pollen, bees are often attracted to them. However, the researchers also voiced concerns that there will be an issue with pests on the crops as the industry expands. That could lead to companies using various pesticides, which will interfere with their ability to pollinate and could even potentially harm the bees. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Months after identifying the elusive Higgs boson particle, scientists at CERN in Geneva, Switzerland have announced that they've completely run out of things to do with their Large Hadron Collider.
We've tried some time travel stuff, but it doesn't really work. Black holes, but we already know like a ton about those. Last week we threw a bird in there. Honestly, we thought it would take way longer to find the Higgs boson.
Director General of CERN, Rolf Dieter Hauer, told reporters that while they, quote, might be able to figure out some more about quarks or something, for the most part, his team has spent much of the past year throwing pennies into the machine and turning it on to see if the pennies come out smushed.
We might just start building a larger hadron collider. Yeah, maybe a bigger collider for smaller hadrons or something. I don't know.
CERN has announced on their website that if anyone out there has any fun ideas for experiments, you can email them to ideas@largehadroncollider.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. Call in and talk about whatever is on your mind. That number's 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Aria.
And Jay.
And evidently, according to the name, I scroll past it, the Alliance for Human Research Protection, the U.S. Navy has acknowledged that the MMR vaccine caused a viral mumps outbreak. Do you have this in front of you?
I do have it in front of me, yes.
Take it away.
Since December 2018, the U.S. Navy warship Fort McHenry, which was deployed to the Persian Gulf, has been quarantined, stranded at sea because of viral mumps outbreak that has stricken 27 sailors and Marines.
What is the date on this particular article? I'm just trying to figure out how long they were.
I don't know. If you want to look at it, look there.
There's no date stamp, so we don't know exactly how long this quarantine actually was in place.
All service members on the ship had been vaccinated with MMR, measles, mumps, rubella vaccine, but the vaccine is defective. Mumps take 25 days to incubate.
Well, isn't the whole idea of vaccines is that they give you a weakened form of the disease so that your body fights it off and then you're immune to it, or because you have the antibodies there or something like that? I'm not a biologist, so don't get me wrong.
Who depends who you ask, Dr. Evil or Dr. Good? I mean, this is like
I just want the truth.
All other technology. Well, the truth is what can be done with vaccines. And I believe if it can be done, it's being done. Either side. It can be used for good, it can be used for bad.
Okay.
I mean,
that's a sensible, rational position to take. So, but it doesn't help the solution. I like to think that most people are good and that we don't have a whole lot of Dr. Evils running around out there.
What do evil people thrive for? What positions do they want in life? Bad people.
I don't know, because I don't understand the mind of an evil person. Like
from what I can tell, they want to be in a position of power. Usually starts by running for city council, I think.
But they don't recognize themselves to be evil. They recognize themselves to be doing things for, quote, the greater good.
Yeah, I'm sure, like Hillary Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein and, and Prince Andrew, all these guys are just helping everyone out.
That's what they genuinely believe. Like the ex-girlfriend of mine who was the one who actually told me that, she was totally okay with putting a gun to people's heads if they didn't want to voluntarily contribute to AIDS research or whatever. She doesn't recognize the immorality, the outright evil in that statement, because she's so blinded by this notion, this false conceit of the greater good. And there is no amount of imaginary greater good that could possibly outweigh a real, tangible harm. And that's what it ultimately comes down to, is they weigh this non-existent, fictitious entity that only exists in their head and that they will never be able to prove is anything but a figment of their imagination, against the actual harm being caused by their policy. Sure, that $5 that you forced this man to donate may result in some good. We don't know whether it did or didn't. We'll never be able to prove that. But you did put a gun to this person's head and inflict wrong on them. We know that for a fact. Whether or not that wrong has some sort of greater good outcome, we don't know. We'll never know. Chasing after it's a red herring used to justify immoral acts on the part of people who think they're doing good things.
So back to the point of vaccines and what they're for.
Sorry.
Well, that's fine. Well, the problem is that it's kind of irrelevant what the purpose of a vaccine is for once you get the military involved. Because what the military does is they put out a bid for a contract for whatever's going on. So everything the military buys, whether it be a hamburger, a bullet, a shoe, or a vaccine, it is absolute fact that that item is sold for 10 to hundreds of times of what it would cost to go to Walmart and buy it yourself.
Sure.
To the military. This is all part of the military-industrial complex.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're not really spending $30,000 on a hammer or any kind of nonsense like that.
Sure, they could be. This is how they could be given $15,000 for each vaccine. I mean, I haven't seen the numbers, but they're happy to give Archer Midland Daniels $30,000 for a freaking hammer. This is how you.
They're also willing to spend $80,000 teaching hookers in the Philippines how to use condoms.
Yeah, well,
the American government did that.
This is all bids about the contract. So vaccines are supposed to prepare our bodies for a specific virus.
Sure, and I mean it's sound reasoning biologically. I mean, that's why parents for generations have had their kids intentionally infected with the chickenpox at younger ages. It's effective.
And I believe that there are many vaccines that do their job and do just what they claim to do. I mean, I have seen where a horse has gotten rabies and been in the same herd of horses, and the particular horse that got rabies wasn't vaccinated for rabies. And these other horses that did not get rabies, that were living with that horse, were vaccinated for rabies. For example, rabies vaccine, best I can tell, works. But when you have a military contract, and what happens when they make up these military contracts, somebody in some office somewhere just comes up, has a friend that has something he needs to sell to the government. So then a lobbyist goes and says, all right, we got to come up with a contract to buy this particular item or service or whatever. It's no different with vaccines. So it doesn't become about making a quality vaccine. And if you're Merck or Pfizer or Bayer, you are not even held liable if you screw up in the vaccine market.
Well, they're not held liable at all. Wasn't it Bayer that sold HIV-tainted aspirin to Brazil and faced absolutely no repercussions from it whatsoever because they were protected by the American government?
So I don't know about that one, but
weren't they Zyklon B?
Yep, there's Zyklon B, and now they're Monsanto. They own Monsanto, which I think
Bayer
is hilarious.
owns Monsanto, really?
Yes, which I think is hilarious.
The company behind Agent Orange that made the Saigon slums and other tragedies like that in Vietnam.
Yeah, Bayer.
Those were the people making people's aspirin, by the way.
Bayer just bought
inhalers.
Well, not just, but like 2 years ago, Bayer bought Monsanto for 62. I don't know if it's B with a billion or M with a million, but like
it would have to be billion.
Okay, it's probably what it is.
Jesus, it's Monsanto.
Yeah. So
they're the Disney of chemicals.
Correct. And they and it's been word a lot that Roundup exposure causes cancer. And now major lawsuits all over the country, and law firms have been settled. Major lawsuits have been settled over cancer, and juries have agreed to have awarded.
Well,
people.
Isn't Roundup and Agent Orange like the same thing?
Yes. Yeah, it basically is.
Yeah.
And
I mean, we know Agent Orange caused all sorts of health problems, up to and including cancer.
The Veterans Administration is still, as of 2 years ago, I don't know recently, but as of 2 years ago, still actively, their position is Agent Orange is not a carcinogen, did not cause cancer, so they can.
Who is this? The VA?
Yeah, the Veterans Hospital. Yeah, VA.
Okay,
yes.
well, yeah, but they're the government.
Well,
so of course the government's going to say that about something the government used to give its soldiers.
Is to get
cancer.
out of the right. Well, they didn't use it to give the soldiers cancer. They use it to defoliate the forest, and
a lot of soldiers came in contact with it.
Oh, absolutely. I knew.
Yeah.
A good friend, a guy who taught me blacksmithing, said he was swimming in it a few times.
Like the uranium-tipped bullets that the United States military uses now.
Depleted uranium. Oh man, that is that's insane. I mean, so
it's like you don't have to just shoot them and kill them. You can also poison them and their land.
My point is
absolutely disgusting.
These psychopaths don't want what's best for you, so they create subpar vaccines either purposely because they want you to be a customer for life, or it's just another incompetent government, contract. I mean, everything that's built for the military is a piece of crap, literally, and it costs the most amount of money. So, yeah.
See, I had a different impression of the American military. I assumed that everything was pretty top quality because, that's the bread and butter of the entire state apparatus is its military, right?
Most of the soldiers that died in Afghanistan were in MRAPs that weigh 20 tons and drive over these bridges in rural Afghanistan, and they fall through the bridge into the river or the lake or the swamp, and they drowned in the MRAP because you can't open the doors.
That seems like pretty bad design. That's bad
engineering. That's what
engineering.
Silver Dave told me. Yeah, it's all poor engineering. There's a movie about the Abrams Bradley. They built it like a piece of junk.
What do you think about the American military-industrial complex? 855-450-3733. Again, that's 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Dynovite is nutrition.
Pick up 2 bottles of Lico Chops. Get the 3rd bottle free.
New improved Lico Chops with omega-3, omega-6, vitamin E.
And now, 6 extra direct-fed microbials.
Even better for the digestive tract and immune system.
Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Have you heard of LibertyCon? LibertyCon is not only a convention with great speakers like Whole Foods CEO and co-founder John Mackey and Nobel Prize winner Vernon Smith, but it's also unique because you get a chance to network with more than 70 pro-liberty organizations, one-on-one for the purpose of career advancement, business, and internship opportunities. April 3rd through 5th in Washington, D.C. You can learn more by visiting LibertyCon.com and use code FTL for a $10 discount on your registration. That's LibertyCon.com. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. Local.bitcoin.com.
Have you ever wanted to work when you wanted to work instead of having to report to an office? Have you ever felt trapped by relationship rules like monogamy? I'm Caleb Jones, and I have taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create low-work, high-income businesses and how to date women under your terms. Come to our free webinar with a live Q&A with me so you can learn how to create location-independent income and date women the way you want. Go to alpha.freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live.
Welcome to the world's most powerful spells by High Priestess Catherine Ulls. Now, this is kind of like a lot of those religions where you can just sort of just name yourself whatever you want to, right?
Right, exactly.
Super wizard.
Right there at the top. Wait, 1 year unconditional money back guarantee. So, like, if your spell fails over the course of the year, oh, the tumor came back.
Here are the terms. You must give the spell time to work. This time frame is 120 days from the date of purchase. That's
4 months.
A request made.
I don't even want the lover back after 4 months.
You must allow for time for a full energy exchange. Sometimes our spells take time. Must not be that powerful. Why can't I upgrade? I mean, she charges $97. Oh, wait, no.
There's a sale that ends tonight at midnight.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, talk radio that you can control by calling in and talking about whatever is on your mind. That number's 855-450-3733. And with you tonight, it's Aria.
And Jay.
And you may have missed it. Last night was the Alpha Male 2.0 webinar presented by Free Talk Live. And if you've never heard of Caleb Jones, well, he's the creator of Alpha Male 2.0. You can listen to the replay of the live webinar with Caleb, complete with questions and answers, at alpha.freetalklive.com. Caleb has taught hundreds of thousands of men. I think that number is probably exaggerated. So I didn't proofread this first, but I think hundreds of thousands is probably a bit exaggerated. How to create location-independent income and date women under their terms. He asks questions like, what good is living in a free society if you do not live a free life? Have you ever wanted to work when you wanted to work instead of having to report to an office or to a job? Have you ever felt trapped by relationship rules like monogamy? And this is one of the best parts of the entire webinar, is because I'm polyamorous. And so is he, although he almost pointedly refuses to describe himself as polyamorous. It was very peculiar. But to some, this whole thing is controversial, but he's not creating sound bites for shock value. He believes deeply in the Alpha Male 2.0 way of life, and he wants to help you be more than just... I can't do it.
Well, he wants you to be more than... let me find out where you... Oh, more than an alpha male. He wants to help you become Alpha Male 2.0. Listen to the replay of our live webinar with Caleb, on demand and complete with question and answer at alpha.freetalklive.com. That's alpha.freetalklive.com. Yeah, I mean, is he is this how to be a stud and get all the poon you want for and be successful and drive a Lambo? Is that what's happening here? I don't know. I didn't listen to it.
I mean, more or less, yes. Let's move on to the phones.
Good for those folks.
I guess. We've got Tom calling from New Hampshire. Tom, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, I was just thinking that maybe LRN should schedule the programs according to Greenwich Mean Time instead of having to change the clocks for daylight saving time. If a lot of people are against daylight saving time, then like your program, instead of being 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern, it would be midnight to 03 hours Greenwich Mean Time. And then when people, the mere mortals and the ignorant masses change their clocks, that wouldn't change what the Greenwich Mean Time of each program would start. And when some radio stations would wind up broadcasting another program an hour, and people would get to listen to another program when they're used to listening to Free Talk Live, or vice versa, when Free Talk Live would be on during that hour, because they changed their clocks and the radio station changed what time slot they would be providing LRN coverage.
What would be the benefit of doing this? I mean, there are movements here in the Northeast. I think it was Maine, New Hampshire, and Connecticut.
To get rid of daylight shifting time?
Yeah, because that's what it is. It's daylight moving time, really, or daylight shifting time.
It's actually daylight saving time, by the way, singular, not plural. But here's the thing: what Greenwich Mean Time, what that denotes is, okay, the Greenwich Solar Time is the solar time at the Royal Observatory outside of London, specifically Aries transit. But the Earth rotates in 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 4 seconds, and it takes a few minutes longer for the same hemisphere to face the sun again, because the Earth has moved on its orbit. And the orbit is not a circle. And so the exact amount varies during the year. And so the days would all be different lengths of time. Now, so what they do is the average, so that on the average, the sun transits the meridian 12 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds after midnight Greenwich Mean Time at the Greenwich Observatory, Greenwich Average Time. That's what that means.
Right, I understand, but in order for a human time as a construct to even work, the Earth's rotation on its axis would have to correspond almost perfectly to its orbit around the sun, and it doesn't.
The Earth's rotation on its axis is a little bit less than a day, because the Earth has moved on its orbit, and it takes a few minutes longer for the same hemisphere to face the sun. And that sometimes it takes more than 24 hours, sometimes less than 24 hours for the same hemisphere to face the sun again.
Well, I know. But, I mean, that's pretty common knowledge as I understand it, because, I mean, that's why Alaska has some, 36 days where they don't have any sunlight or something to that effect?
And then they got days where they have no dark, too. I got a question, Tom.
What?
All that information that you just laid out on us, which is wonderful, can you tell me about how many years ago that stuff was actually figured out? Do you have a guesstimate on that?
I believe that was actually, first of all, it was when they first coming up with clocks. It was in the 1700s that they were coming up with a way to devise a clock that they could put on a ship, and it could go out there and they could tell the meridian transit of stars, what time is it back home when that star transits the meridian,
but this,
and what time is it here, and then they would know their longitude. That was how they figured out the longitude back. They started figuring out the longitude on the ground in the 1600s, but for a ship at sea, they had to have a clock that they could bring with them.
So the calculation that they got of this 23 hours and some odd minutes is basically a complete rotation. That's been around for hundreds of years or thousands of years, that knowledge?
That I don't really know. It's that's the constant, though. It's very constant. Every once in a while, the difference adds up to 1 second, and they throw in a leap second during the year. But it was when Galileo Galilei invented the telescope, and then they started observing the moons of Jupiter.
All right, what year was that?
That was 1635. He came up with the telescope.
So nearly 500 years ago, these guys are figuring this stuff out, and I still can't buy a flying car. Come on. Damn regulations.
Tom, thank you so much for the call.
That's some great information.
It is. Time is such an interesting thing because these are just arbitrary numbers and measurements that we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
But it creates a substantial amount of problems throughout the world, especially with daylight shifting time zones. And as he pointed out, people on ships during the 18th century would need to use very complicated trigonometry to ascertain exactly where they were in relation to where they thought they were or where they were expecting to go.
So they would line up at least 3 stars that they could identify.
Yep.
And
they use
trigonometry means
for 3. This purpose, right?
Yeah, and then they would kind of verify where they are that way. That's a skill that probably is a hobby nowadays.
Very good point. I mean, geopositioning and satellites and GPS uses the same sort of ideology, or
right.
Same sort of idea. 855-450-FREE.
I want to tell you about my favorite cryptocurrency wallet, Edge Wallet, at Edge. Edge is the wallet I use more than any other, and that was true long before Edge Wallet became a sponsor of Free Talk Live. Edge Wallet allows you to buy, sell, trade, and securely hold your cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, tokens, Monero, Ripple, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, and more. It's available for both Android and iOS, and you can download it via the Play or App Store or via Edge Wallet's website, edge.app. Secure your freedom with Edge Wallet.
The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit divvyproject.org. divvyproject.org.
The political world is a maddening cesspool of corruption and lies. Nobody tells the truth. Nobody keeps campaign promises. Nobody obeys the Constitution. Nobody puts the people first. How can we ever escape this web of tyranny? Vote for nobody.
Hi, my name is Nobody. I'm running for governor of New Hampshire because nobody knows how to live your life better than you do, and nobody deserves that kind of power. I want to put you back in control of your money, your lifestyle, your work, your body, and your life. Nobody should rule you but you. New Hampshire convicts many people of so-called crimes that should never have been prosecuted. If elected, I will pardon every victimless crime in New Hampshire history. This includes drug, gambling, prostitution, gun, and driving offenses. Nobody should have a criminal record when they have not harmed anybody.
Wouldn't it be nice to have nobody telling you what to do? Learn more at electnobody.com. electnobody.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. Call in and talk about whatever is on your mind. That number's 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Aria.
And Jay.
And you know, for years, libertarians of all stripes have wanted a directory for liberty-minded businesses, and we're helping to build one at liberty.menu. It's a tool for your community. At its core is a directory for events, businesses, and digital content, and so much more. Listings can be rated and reviewed, and there's a little bit of a social network aspect to it so that you can connect and share with others. However, use of liberty.menu is exclusively for individuals who reject the initiation of force, and for those who choose to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. So put your voluntarist ideas into action at liberty.menu and use code FTL to get a special badge. Again, that's liberty.menu. Now, we just got off the phones with a caller who wanted to talk about time and the prospect of Free Talk Live moving to Greenwich Mean Time, however confusing that would be. And evidently other people have thoughts on the subject. Jerry, you're on Free Talk Live. Jerry, you're breaking up a bit.
My phone service is bad.
Yeah. We can't hear you. Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. It's actually the buying.
No, you're breaking up too much. Jerry, I appreciate the attempt, but your cell phone signal is just too unreliable.
And bad audio is a hate crime. The thing with the reason I'm sure that LRN uses the timeline it does is, well, Free Talk.
He said LRN. He meant Free Talk Live. So
probably, but like, so.
Well, LRN isn't playing on the radio stations that he was talking about. Free Talk Live is.
Yeah. So Free Talk Live, with especially live radio shows, you work it. You got to work it for market and like when people are listening, and so you have it at a specific time, and you start telling everybody, Greenwich Mean Time. What's that mean? They don't know. And you talk to any program directors, to get your show on. It's just a language of time reference that we use as this, whatever it is, standard daylight or daylight savings or whatever.
Right. And here in the United States, where Free Talk Live airs and where we're carried on radio stations, it's Eastern, Pacific, Central, and Mountain, I think, are the time zones. Those are the ones that people understand. You start talking about, we're GMT -5 and we air at GMT 0. I don't know, man.
It's just going to get confusing.
Yeah, it's like telling somebody that you want to purchase something for 0.78 Bitcoin Cash. It's not the perspective that people have to understand what it is you're saying.
When I did the Free Ross auction, which was a lot of fun last year, people were talking to me about doing some kind of auction where you can only buy in Bitcoin, and the bidding would be, essentially in millibits. And I'm like, that sounds like fun, but I think people might get carried away and, spend, thousands of dollars when they thought they might just be spending hundreds.
Unfortunately, that would probably happen, even with the most careful crypto enthusiasts, simply because, it's not a measurement that we deal with.
Well, I'd have to retrain my whole it'd be toughest on me, I think. That's why I wasn't interested in doing that. But
and I think we should. I think it would be a great idea for us to deal exclusively in Bitcoin and think in terms of, this can of Monster here is worth 700 Satoshis or whatever. I have no idea off the top of my head, and that's the problem. I have no idea off the top of my head what a Monster would cost in Bitcoin. Or Bitcoin. I have a better perspective with Bitcoin Cash because I use it so often.
Yep.
But Dash, the value of it has just plummeted over the last year, and I no longer have any relative capacity to understand that either. How much Dash is one can of Monster worth? I don't know, man. I do not know.
Yeah, it's sad how much these things go down.
I know how many dollars they cost
when you earn a lot of Bitcoin or crypto and then it drops in price. But oh well, that's just part of the game. But yeah, speaking of encouraging the use of cryptocurrency because it's freedom currency, as in freedom, not as in for free. I give people discounts when I plow snow. It's wintertime now. I've went and plowed snow a couple of times, and probably about half my customers paid me in cryptocurrency.
Nice.
And I got.
You ever get to Keene while you're doing that?
No, actually, last week when I came down here, I should have left my plow in a truck because this place needed plowing out. But
so does my place. I mean, most of the rain got rid of it, but yeah, that's what I would have figured. Okay.
But if I do come down and there's a snow, if somebody wants to send me a message next time, I'll come plow some places out around here.
I'll keep that
on
in
a
mind.
Wednesday only.
Because the alternative for me is to get out there with a shovel and get rid of it. I'm like, I will do enough of this so that I can get out in and out of the driveway. But
And then once it freezes there, like whatever's there now is going to stay for a long time.
Yeah. Well, the rain got rid of a lot more of it than I would have expected, and but it was also like 50 degrees yesterday. It was amazing.
I was actually doing my last finishing touches on my rubber roof, which it has to be 45 degrees to do that. I spent a few hours yesterday doing that. So
it's snowing again this weekend, I believe.
Or raining, at least. But there's definitely rain or snow.
Yeah. And once it really comes down, it's not going anywhere until like April, maybe early May.
That's right. That's why you got to push those snowbanks way back.
So anyway, the U.S. Navy evidently had a ship infected with the mumps.
Yeah,
or measles. Which one is it? It's mumps. Okay.
It was mumps. The Navy's position is, and this article is from ahrp.org.
I don't know anything about them, by the way.
Yeah.
They do have a heading up here called medical atrocities for whatever that's worth.
Back to the article, the Navy's position is that vaccines are effective at reducing the incidence and the severity of vaccine-preventable diseases. Bum told BI. I don't know who bummed or BI is. Unfortunately, the mumps portion of the measles, mumps, and rubella MMR vaccine is the least effective of the three components, providing 88% effectiveness over completion of 2 doses in a series. So everyone on this ship had received these 2 doses of the vaccine, and 27 people actually got mumps.
And the point you made during the break is a good one. It's like, would you actually use a condom that was only 88% effective at preventing STIs? Definitely not.
Yeah, what do they say? They're like 99 or something?
Yeah.
99 something. So people are okay with 99%.
In a lot of cases, the 99% is more just for liability reasons. Right. If they said 100% and then somebody caught some sort of STI, then they're on the hook for that and they get sued and all of that.
So, and then they have recent read recent reports inside Business Insider. The Navy's fighting to get a rare viral mumps outbreak under control after it stranded a U.S. warship at sea. And that was March 29th, 2019. And then talks about some other articles. In a lawsuit filed by 2 former Merck scientists in 2010.
What is Merck?
Merck is a pharmaceutical company.
Okay. I thought the name was familiar, but...
Yeah, I believe Donald Rumsfeld has a lot to do with Merck.
Oh, well, that's always encouraging.
I'm quite sure. He's kind of like the Dick Cheney of Halliburton.
Yeah, because if there was ever anyone I wanted making my medication, it would be him, right?
Well, and he's a bad guy that you know of. I mean, the real bad guys, the real people in control, we don't know who they are. We don't know who Dr. Evil is. He doesn't brag about it. We just get to see some of these other, evil peons like, Rummy. In 2010, this lawsuit alleges the company committed fraud by faking efficacy tests for the mumps component of the MMR vaccine in order to maintain its monopoly on the MMR market. And then they go into a whole bunch of statistics, but they're able to trace these vaccines back to the actual vaccine these viruses that outbreak to the actual vaccines because of the DNA.
Okay, so it's a mutation of the vaccines?
The people just got the flu from the flu shot, essentially.
855-450-3733. More about this subject in just a moment. 855-450-3733.
Message and data rates may apply. Individual results may vary. Exclusions apply.
But hey, I'm buying a huge flat screen TV so I can finally see it without my glasses.
Why not just get LASIK at the LASIK Vision Institute? That's what I'm doing.
My glasses and contacts are a pain. I'd love to finally get rid of these, but who can afford LASIK?
You can. Because the LASIK Vision Institute is offering dramatically low prices and an absolutely free consultation. Just text DO11 to 350350. The LASIK Vision Institute has already performed over 1 million procedures. They use the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology that helps the majority of patients achieve 20/20 vision for a fraction of what others charge. Better vision, better value. The LASIK Vision Institute. Make this the year you finally get LASIK. For a free consultation plus an extra 20% discount, text DO11 to 350350. You'll see for free if LASIK is right for you. That's DO11 to 350350.
Bags under the eyes, crow's feet, fine lines and wrinkles are things adults complain about as they age. Now there's Instantly Ageless. It works in minutes and is great for men and women. Here's a clip from the Rachel Ray Show testing the results of Instantly Ageless.
Board-certified dermatologist Dr. Whitney Bowe.
If you're looking to try to turn back the clock on a budget, in the privacy of your own home, but actually there's some recent technologies emerging, almost like changes the behavior of the skin while it sits on the skin.
She went off to try a product called Instantly Ageless.
Yeah, instantly you could see a difference. Even the cameraman were like, wow, look at the difference.
Yeah,
but I would definitely use this product.
This product, within minutes of applying it, it was actually a very dramatic rejuvenation.
Try Instantly Ageless today at GCNlife.com. That's GCNlife.com. 30-day money-back guarantee and preferred price discount at GCNlife.com. That's GCNlife.com.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring Simon to the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait a minute.
Whoa.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me? Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's Antiwar.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. Call in and talk about whatever is on your mind. That number is 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Aria.
And Jay.
Coming up this June and July at Rogers Campground, join liberty-minded volunteerists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 29th until July the 5th for Forkfest 2020. I'm calling it Forkfest for the Flippening at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. Forkfest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and Forkfest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. Also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping site, your RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June the 25th until July the 5th. There will be, I'm sure there will be food vendors, parties. It's a lot of fun. Definitely come up and check it out. If you're planning an event for Forkfest, be sure to let others know in advance. Like Sammy and I, Tamsin, we're all planning Ladies' Night Out for Forkfest. It's going to be awesome. Go to the unofficial Telegram chat or the unofficial Forkfest forum, because all of this is unofficial. Nobody's in charge. It's just some people doing stuff. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Again, that's forkfest.party. It's the 4th year, and it's happening after the Porcupine Freedom Festival this year. And it's also 7 days. I'm tremendously looking forward to it.
And Man Camp will be happening at both Porkfest and Forkfest.
But that's the Porcupine Freedom Festival and Forkfest.
Right. And I refer to those 2 weekends as New Hampshire Freedom Festival. That's what I've been calling them, because it's essentially what it is. It's a pretty huge freedom festival, and this year it'll be, well, last year it was 2 weeks long. And I was there for, I think, 12 days.
Last year wasn't it more like 10 days?
Well, I guess it depends. There's a lot of people that spent 2 weeks there.
Okay.
But I was there, I think, for 11 or 12 days last year, and it was fun. I mean,
it was
for like the past decade.
I see you're wearing a Forkfest.party t-shirt.
That's right.
Fact.
Yes.
Is that from the Big Gay Dance Party? Well, I guess it sort of is related, but because Freedom's Phoenix, Pirates Without Borders, the Big Gay Somalian Road Builders Disco.
So this wasn't the Big Gay Disco shirt, which was a whole other shirt. This one just has, Man Camp.
I have one of the Big Gay Disco shirts, obviously.
The disco and the pirate and basically the big things that were involved in it. I'm not going to be focusing too much on Man Camp at Porkfest. I'll be helping out a little bit with it, but
that's Porcupine Freedom Festival,
at
right?
At the Porcupine Freedom Festival and at Forkfest. But we'll have some of the stuff there, and I'm working on volunteers to basically run the operation. This year, I'm going to kind of kick back with my wife and my baby at the New Hampshire Freedom Festival, and
nice. So
Porkfest
these volunteers who will be running the Man Camp, are they by chance people who learned these skills at the previous?
Some of them are,
because that's awesome.
Some of them are.
I taught you to do this thing, and now you're coming back and you're going to teach it to other people.
Yes,
that's amazing. I love that. That's Man Camp happening at Forkfest and the Porcupine Freedom Festival. Ladies' Night Out will only be at Forkfest. It won't be at Porcupine Freedom Festival.
Few of us were talking about trying to do some guys over in Manchester at Forkfest.
There has to be live music. There has for at least one night at Forkfest, because that was the great glaring omission for the entire event.
Yeah,
was the lack of live music.
Well, maybe we can get guys like my brother Josh Noon to be at Forkfest, and he's a great musician that plays some original acoustic, freedom songs, and very much like Jordan Page type music. And they're usually, at one of these festivals or both of these festivals, and hopefully, next year. We could have a thing where it's like a ladies' night. We were talking about, like, ladies come in free. Like a good friend of mine.
Well, we're doing that for the entire Forkfest.
Oh, okay.
We're going to have an RV site set up with a campsite and a ladies-only area, because let's just be honest, there are a lot of creepertarians.
Oh, okay. So
in the liberty movement.
Yes, there are. What we were talking about doing was having a tent set up to where there was like a ladies' night at Porkfest and a ladies' night at Forkfest. And what it is...
No, that's at Porcupine Freedom Festival and Forkfest.
Sorry about that.
I prefer saying it because on the air they sound identical.
Yeah, especially if you're listening on the call-in line.
Yeah.
So... it would be, the idea is that ladies can come to this particular tent. Single women who are looking for a guy was the idea, because there's this thing where everybody's...
that's why Forkfest is necessary. Women aren't coming to the events to hook up. I mean,
But if there's a single lady looking for a guy, they get in free.
She won't have any problem finding those at any libertarian event.
Then the guys have to pay $15 to $20 a head to get in, so the guy's not cheap if he's going in there, Okay. And we were talking about doing this because, a lot of young girls.
I mean, Ladies' Night Out should work together with Man Camp to facilitate this and make this happen.
Yeah.
We have to discuss this further because that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Man Camp plus Ladies' Night Out. Perfect.
What got us thinking about it is that I was talking with a girl at the Quill a couple weeks ago. A few of us were at one of the New Movers parties, and she's like, I would never let a guy sleep with me unless he had even if he was cute and had all the things going right, unless he had a really good job and could take care of me and my baby, because the ultimate because the worst case scenario is I'm getting pregnant and I can't go to work and I don't have maternity leave and he needs to be able to take care of me. And she goes, I can't find that guy.
No, of course not. I realize this was a woman saying it, but that's borderline misogynistic in its own right,
Yeah, I guess it could be. I didn't think of it that way.
I would imagine that mentality is pretty rare among women in general, but especially among women, liberty-leaning women. I mean, they don't want to be dependent on a dude.
Well,
that's hardly any different from being dependent on the state. If you're dependent on someone, they control you.
Sure.
And the whole idea of liberty is to not be controlled. That's actually part of the alpha male crap that I did not find just grotesquely offensive. If you're not free in one aspect of your life, then you're simply not free. You're beholden to others.
As a 20-something-year-old young woman, which this girl is,
she shouldn't have a kid, but go ahead.
Well, in her position to be in a relationship with a guy, and if she gets pregnant, the facts of her particular situation the realities is, it gets to a certain point where she's not going to be able to work.
There are medical procedures that will prevent that.
Well, and she's not interested in doing that, which is fine. And I whatever people do is their own business. And I'm not going to tell them, how. I don't want anybody telling them what to do. I want them to decide that. But anyways,
I would agree. But it sounds like she's creating her own problem here. Never having met this person, only having heard what you're saying, she's like, I want a man who will take care of me because if I get pregnant by having sex with men, I don't want to have an abortion. So, I mean, she's sort of creating this need for this dependency in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you. But, the thing is it's just a reality of her situation. And it's like, and I think somebody said, well you're a cute girl. Why don't you have a boyfriend? She's like, well, I'm looking, but most guys, they don't really have a consistent job. They don't have a place to live. They're living with mom, or they're not even able to financially independent enough to take care of themselves.
Sounds like they need some alpha male 2.0 or 1.0 in their instance.
And the way she looks at it is you have to be financially, secure enough to take care of yourself plus me for several months and a baby if, I'm going to, if she's going to be in a relationship with him. And that's just, I thought that was interesting.
That is at least a responsible way of viewing it. Although it again comes to mind that she doesn't have to get pregnant simply by having a relationship. And even abortion aside, there are contraceptives, birth control, condoms, and all sorts of other methods that can be used to prevent a pregnancy.
Well, she is probably aware of that, but is also aware of the, the harsh reality of it, what comes to it. But she wants to be in a relationship when she does want to have a family and kids, but she doesn't want to be the one who has to take care of everything.
See, I like Joseph Campbell and Eckhart Tolle, and I would say that she doesn't want a relationship because she is subconsciously creating the circumstances where no one is qualified to have a relationship with her. She wants to be single, but wants to say that she wants a relationship. And she resolves that contradiction by creating these standards that no one is going to meet.
This actually might be a great conversation for you and her to have at Forkfest. I am quite positive she will be there, and I'm going to talk to her a little more about this and kind of mention our conversation and maybe, hey, listen to the show, on Wednesday night with
Well, keeping in mind that I have never spoken with her or met her or even know her name. So I only know those little tidbits that you've told me, and I just made a lot of judgments based on those tidbits that probably are not applicable.
Your judgments are pretty darn good. I mean, you got a good brain. You think about stuff. And one thing I really appreciate, like I was saying earlier, a lot of what I know about Bitcoin I learned from you, is you explain things when you're on Call to Freedom doing your crypto hour about Bitcoin that like I could wrap my head around and understand. And I listened to other guys, and I'd have to listen to them a few times, and I couldn't really. You got a good way of like laying it out.
Awesome.
You know.
That's probably because I did IT for a living for like a decade, so it just became part of my job to take these complicated IT concepts and explain them in a way that the ordinary user could understand.
Well, you do a good job.
Thank you. 855-450-3733.
Business owners, you want more customers? Accept cryptocurrencies. There's people all around you just waiting to spend money at your store. If only you would take it. I know, you've been waiting till someone else makes it easy. Well, good news. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com adds Bitcoin to your point of sale, totally free. Use the same equipment you already have, now with Bitcoin. And unlike credit cards, there's no fees. Let the guys at HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com bring new customers to your store. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com.
Would it be nice to wake in the morning whenever you want and work whenever you feel like it? Date women under your terms instead of society's? Be a completely free man? I'm Caleb Jones, and I have taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create low-work, high-income businesses and how to date women under your terms. Come to our free webinar with a live Q&A with me so you can learn how to create location-independent income and date women the way you want. Go to alpha.freetalklive.com.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,475, silver at $16.86, and Bitcoin is trading around $7,183. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, the Federal Bureau of Investigation is teaming up with the Post Office to make sure they've got your fingerprints. Even though it wasn't that long ago that people were warned about sharing their DNA with ancestry sites, it seems they might have reason to be concerned now about the FBI's desire to snag your fingerprints. The government has announced a new program in which they hope people will voluntarily give their fingerprints. As the public has become more aware of such privacy concerns, it seems strange that last week the FBI announced a new partnership with the Post Office, where customers can voluntarily provide them with their fingerprints while you're doing your mail. According to FBI.gov, for a fee, the FBI can provide individuals with an identity history summary, often referred to as a criminal history record or a rap sheet, listing certain information taken from fingerprint submissions kept by the FBI and related to arrests, and in some instances, federal employment, naturalization, or military service. However, activists post reports there are ways to get the information without giving your fingerprints to the FBI, as most of such information is public record anyway. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of Kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. A poll published last week by the Pew Research Center shows that 56% of Mexicans view the United States as the greatest threat to their country. Russia and China came in an extremely distant second and third, with 6% and 5% respectively. Thus, of the 195 states recognized by the United Nations, most Mexicans identified just one as a real danger. Other countries surveyed, including Turkey, Argentina, and Brazil, also overwhelmingly identified the United States as their country's greatest threat. The study also showed that there has been a serious reduction in those who identify the U.S. as a dependable ally. In 2007, 63% of Kenyans saw the United States as a dependable ally, but today that number has dropped to 35%. According to a study published in the journal Biomass and Bioenergy earlier this year, planting more hemp could help to maintain bee populations, which have become dangerously low in recent years. The Mind Unleashed reports the study was conducted by researchers at Colorado State University, who set up harm-free traps for bees at large hemp farms throughout the state. They spent about 5 days during a peak growing season collecting bees from the various farms to see how many were attracted to the hemp crops. The researchers noted in their study that since hemp plants produce large amounts of pollen, bees are often attracted to them. However, the researchers also voiced concerns that there will be an issue with pests on the crops as the industry expands. That could lead to companies using various pesticides, which will interfere with their ability to pollinate and could even potentially harm the bees. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
I always dreamed of providing the nation with concise recaps of the week's events. One fateful summer in 1934, legendary onion mogul T. Herman Zwiebel was passing through our town to acquire an oil derrick when he overheard me calling in the oxen in my breathy baritone and offered me the opportunity of a lifetime. Yes, from the turbulent war times of the 1940s.
The Onion welcomes the majestic Axis armies as conquering heroes.
To the free-spirited 60s.
And remember, there's nothing more cosmic than keeping your house insulated with Thermoflake brand asbestos.
I can truly say I've been here for the turning of the ages. But now, viewers, my beautiful 19-year-old wife and I will take our much-deserved retirement to my Genevan chateau. I wish all of my detractors empty, destitute lives. And for my allies, I hope for all the pleasures availed by heaven. So, finally, let me say one last time, for more, keep checking theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. Call in and talk about whatever is on your mind. That number is 855-450-3733. And with you tonight, it's Aria.
And Jay.
And although we've been talking about the MMR vaccine and the Navy, I've got the Ring. Have you heard about this? I don't mean the movie. I mean the Amazon home surveillance network that I know nothing about. And that's why I want to get into this.
Oh, this is the one where, you can let the UPS guy in the door, right? So your package doesn't get stolen after he, leaves.
I'm not sure what it is. I was shocked to find out that former co-host Daryl Perry has an Alexa in his house.
I know some hardcore anarchists. You know him too, and he's got an Alexa, and I'm like, "What? Come on, man!" And he's like, "Well, it doesn't matter what device you have; they're listening to you."
He's not wrong. Right. I mean, if the government wanted to, they could tap into the mobile phones that we have on us all the time, our webcams, our microphones, whatever, anytime they wanted. But they have to at least make the effort to do that. With Alexa, there's no effort required. We know it's always recording.
And I have attended several meetings where no devices are allowed.
Those are good meetings.
Yes.
So as reporters raced this summer, this is coming to us from Gizmodo, to bring new details of Ring's law enforcement contracts to light. Now, are you aware of the controversy surrounding those contracts?
Well, a Department of Defense contract is what I know. Amazon's been whining about that they lost to one of their competitors, I guess. And I heard some rhetoric where Amazon's like, whoa, we're going to participate anyways, whether they like it or not, because we want to make sure the government's being good or something, is what I was hearing.
Even as its creeping objective of ensuring an ever-expanding network of home security devices. Now, this is the issue here, and take this from an IT person. These home security devices are some of the most insecurely programmed things out there. The average programmer, even the average IT person who does this crap for a living, does not take IT security seriously. I used to do subcontract work for a company that I'm going to leave unnamed that would set the passwords of its computers on a domain as the user's first name, all lowercase, which incidentally was also their username. So for Aria, it would have the username of Aria and a password of Aria. And they're like, I don't know why these servers keep getting hit with ransomware. What do you mean you don't know why? You have no basic minimum requirement for any sort of password security right there. The first name of the user is going to be any decent hacker's first guess, man.
Yeah.
You've got RDP listening on default ports. You've got ports wide open to the internet, not restricted by IP address or VPN firewalls or anything. Everything is just wide open. And you're like, oh, we have this server here that's been mining cryptocurrency for the last 6 months. You didn't install any crypto mining software, did you? Well, first of all, I'm deeply offended that you even asked me that. But second of all, no, some hacker did because you left the password of this server, this actual legitimate server, as A1B2C3. That's why there's mining software running on this server.
And a lot of that doesn't mean much to me. A1, B2, whatever.
Well, that's going to be in any decent password dictionary's first 100 guesses.
Oh, okay, all right.
So is the word password.
Yep.
And password with an @ symbol, and all of these other really simple, very common passwords, 1, 2, 3, 4, QWERTY, they're all going to be in there. So
no, not even that. Just talking about these security cameras. So I have a backup camera in my truck that's wireless, and I use it for snow plowing, so I can back up right next to a house and get like the truck 2 inches away, and then so it helps. But I don't
not like knock there,
right? Not I don't want to be buying like car fenders and backing into stuff. So it's an efficiency thing for snow plowing. Anyways, so I don't use it during the summertime on a truck, and I deliver a load of hay to a lady, and I back up. Part of the unit is still in my truck. The receiver that receives the signal from the camera, I put it in reverse. My little screen lights up because it's receiving a signal, and it's a signal off of her security camera into her, I don't know if it was in the hallway, but it was one of the cameras in her house. And
wow.
And she kind of lives like in a remote spot. She's not real close. And these things only work for like 300 or 400 feet from what I understand. So I was like, hey, you got to check this out. And she's like, she freaked. She's like, how? She's like, no, this thing is, and she's like, I understand computers. She's telling me.
Well, clearly she doesn't.
And I'm like, she's like, where'd you get this? I go, it's on Amazon for like $20. I mean, and she was like, well, that one particular camera didn't have the grandma adjust button pushed for, I don't know, security, I guess, or
right. But I mean that's relatively common in the IT world. Is that the people who install these cameras, they leave everything as the default. Like if you ever want to hack a business network's computers, it's really, really easy. Just find the ones that are running a Cisco or a Linksys, navigate to 192.168.1.1, enter admin, bam, you're in. Full network access.
So this is why these municipal...
And you can do a lot of this from just connecting to their Wi-Fi.
So government employees, as we understand, are really, really lazy. So it sounds like this is why these municipal servers...
This is all in the private sector as well, though.
Yeah, okay. Well, you fire that guy who left that vulnerability there, or you don't hire that company again. But government doesn't do that.
But you have to have another IT auditor that you trust to come in and find out what that problem is. You have to have somebody who's willing to say, okay, this is the reason you were hit with ransomware. This guy left you vulnerable. Because that guy's going to say, he's not going to say, I left you vulnerable. That's the last thing he's ever going to say because it's losing a client to him.
That sounds like that could be a hacker for hire valuable service. Hire me to try to hack your system. And
I think there are white hat hackers who do exactly that.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Chris Wade, who is on Friday nights, would know quite a lot more about that.
And if I had some kind of security system, I would probably call one of my friends like you or Chris Wade or say, hey, can you try to break into it? Yeah. Just to test it. Because why not?
And when you start that's why the Internet of Things, as they're calling it, concerns me. When you have automobiles on the internet, refrigerators, air conditioning,
self-driving cars.
When you have all of this on the internet, as an IT person, that scares the hell out of me because I know how insecure devices attached to the internet really are. There were, I don't remember the number now. I think it was 25 million or maybe 250 million devices participating in the DIN attack. And probably 90% of those are still infected.
What's a DIN attack?
It was a particular attack that I don't remember the details now because it was like 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, but it infected a bunch, like millions upon millions of phones, computers, networking equipment, just IT devices in general, and it performed this massive distributed denial of service attack.
Does DIN stand for Digital Identification Number?
No, it was DYN.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know.
And most of those devices, the average user never went online to see if there was one of the ones infected. The average Android user never went online to see if, hey, maybe my phone's been compromised. And 90% of those are still compromised as a result of it. And Samsung doesn't care. Motorola doesn't care.
No. Actually, if anything, the phone starts screwing up, you go buy another phone.
Yeah, it's not their problem.
Actually, probably helps them, these attacks.
And it's too expensive to pay an IT person $125 or whatever to come over and do it for you. So
they go buy a brand new phone for $125.
Yeah, they just remain infected.
And
we're like, okay, well, we live in a world that has ransomware. Let's connect our cars to the internet. Who doesn't know what the end result of this is going to be? It's going to be driving down the road at 70 miles per hour, and suddenly you get a notification that your car has been infected with ransomware, and it's going to drive you into a tree at 70 miles per hour if you don't send it a half of a Bitcoin in the next 2 hours.
Well,
that's what's going to happen.
There is speculation, there is theories that pretty much is how Andrew Breitbart got killed, that his car was taken over. And I forget what the car was, but there was a hackathon. Actually, Brian Sovereign from Sovereign Tech did an episode on this hackathon where these guys were able to, they got some rental car that had all this stuff, and they were able to disable brakes. They were able to lock and unlock the doors. They were able to they were able to make it steer. They were able to power it. They were basically almost able to drive this car wirelessly, but definitely could disable the brakes and accelerate throttle. And you could not do much about it, is what their end result was in this hackathon thing.
Yeah, and the people programming this stuff, they don't give the security aspect any consideration. They're more like, can we make a self-driving car? Not, is this even a good idea?
Anarchapulco is the world's foremost conference for voluntarist thinkers and activists, held in beautiful Acapulco, Mexico. Share ideas on how to live free and escape the clutches of the state. Their unparalleled lineup of speakers will discuss entrepreneurship, investments, politics, philosophy, health, sustainability, lifestyles, and personal relationships. Stay in a world-class resort and enjoy the sun and beaches. February the 13th through the 16th, visit anarchapulco.com for early bird pricing and 10% off with coupon code FTL.
Have you heard of LibertyCon? LibertyCon is not only a convention with great speakers like Whole Foods CEO and co-founder John Mackey and Nobel Prize winner Vernon Smith, but it's also unique because you get a chance to network with more than 70 pro-liberty organizations, one-on-one for the purpose of career advancement, business, and internship opportunities. April 3rd through 5th in Washington, D.C. You can learn more by visiting libertycon.com and use code FTL for a $10 discount on your registration. That's libertycon.com.
What good is living in a free society if you don't live a free life? Being stuck in a job or being locked into a relationship, but you're not free to do what you want. I'm Caleb Jones, and I have taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create low-work, high-income businesses and how to date women under your terms. Come to our free webinar with a live Q&A with me so you can learn how to create location-independent income and date women the way you want. Go to alpha.freetalklive.com.
The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better, too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. FTL20 mymagicmud.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. Call in and talk about whatever is on your mind. That number's 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Aria.
And Jay.
LibertyCon is a unique Liberty convention April the 3rd through the 5th in Washington, D.C. for people who want to network with more than 70 pro-liberty organizations for career advancement, businesses and internship opportunities, and more. Hear from a list of incredible speakers like John Mackey, the Whole Foods CEO and co-founder, who is going to speak on conscious capitalism, Vernon Smith, who won the Nobel Prize in Economics, who is going to speak on alternative markets, Miriam Issa, who is a pop culture expert and political commentator with over 300 million YouTube views, and Nassim Nicholas Taleb, who spent 21 years as a quantitative trader, a risk taker, before becoming a researcher in philosophical, mathematic, and practical problems with probability. God, that is a mouthful. And there's so much more. Visit libertycon.com for more details on additional speakers and events, and use code FTL for a discount, a $10 discount on your registration. Student travel scholarships are available and discount rooms for everyone at the Marriott Marquis. Save with early registration at libertycon.com and use the code FTL for a $10 discount.
Quantitative trader. I've never heard that title. That's something I'm going to watch a YouTube video on later.
Okay. Yeah, because I have no idea what it means.
I don't know.
It sounds fascinating.
I know what quantitative easing is.
I find probability and mathematics to be extremely, well, I don't know about extremely, but I find them to be fascinating.
Yes.
I mean, I majored in physics because I loved the mathematics of the universe, right? But probability is its own weird little thing. It's very fascinating. And of course, it comes back to quantum mechanics when you start talking about probability and things like that. And it just becomes this whole mess of tangled concepts that nobody who is still sane comprehends.
Yeah, I learned a lot of geometry this past year because the house I bought, the roof of it consists of 70 triangles, and I had to replace the plywood and the sheetrock, plywood on all of them, and the sheetrock on more than half of them. So I had to cut many, many triangles.
That sounds fun. Well, not the cutting part, but the measurement and the thinking part sounds fun.
Actually, I had a good time with it. My father-in-law was awesome. He helped me out a lot with it, and the figuring part of it actually was fun. The taking the 3/4-inch plywood and lugging it up on the roof and nailing it down, and and then it starts raining and get tarps on stuff wasn't fun, but. Yeah.
That does not sound fun.
It was interesting. I learned a lot about geometry.
That was one of the things I had never really considered until I watched the series Pillars of the Earth, which I ended up reading the book about because Ken Follett's an amazing writer, and the series was fantastic, but just how much actual mathematics that the early builders had to know in order to design these cathedrals, the geometry, the trigonometry, and all of that, and how it all interplayed, and it's just tremendously fascinating.
Oh, yeah, and the dome structure of my house is, it's uses the least amount of materials for the most amount of floor space, and it's tremendously strong. I mean, this building was literally half of it was rotted when I bought it. If it was any other kind of structure, it would have fell in.
Awesome. Well, let's go to the phones. We've got Mortified Penguin calling. Mortified, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey guys, I wanted to call about free market competition. I think that's something that we support, all of us.
I do,
and I was reading an article, an essay actually written decades back called Big Business and the Rise of American Statism. And it really explained the insidious nature of the regulatory state and how it came about. And I think it's something a lot of people, libertarians, should know about. And the premise of the author writes is kind of refuting the, liberal, the conservative, and the Marxist, and even some libertarians' takes on how the regulatory state came to be. Because some people say, oh, it's bad, it hurts business. And some people say, oh, it helps to protects the consumer from these rapacious capitalists and stuff. So,
well, that's certainly the excuse they like to provide. I mean, that's the whole reason the showers suck or whatever Trump has been rambling on about lately. It's because of regulations that were supposed to protect the consumer, but ended up just making things a lot more difficult.
Well, what we see is that there was a period of huge technical advancement and great innovation and everything in the 1800s that people didn't know about, that people all know about, and they call that the laissez-faire system because there hadn't been the regulation. And so there was so much innovation and competition in railroads and steel and meat packing and all these new industries that were coming about that they were saying that some of the producers, especially the ones that really leveraged themselves with these huge capital investments that the government also had a hand in. But that's another story. That's part of the story, actually. But they were saying, oh, no, we have price anarchy, because these weren't really diehard free marketers, some of these guys.
No, price anarchy sounds like a good thing. That sounds like something we want.
Yeah, we, as regular people, would call that free market competition. But they said, oh, no, it's price anarchy. So we need to do something to stabilize these prices because prices were going down sometimes yearly and monthly. They were halving and quartering, and they were just going down by leaps and bounds. And people were really benefiting from this technology. So they said, oh, we need to create voluntary organizations to, quote unquote, stabilize the prices. And
so this author essentially argued that the regulatory fascist system that we deal with today actually predates World War I and actually comes about because of the Industrial Revolution.
From the progressive movement. So the reason they could not just cartelize their industry is because there's always a profit motive to go around the cartel and to bucket and reach the
Sure, that's why black market weed sales are still so successful in light of weed legalization and legal weed businesses.
Yeah, so since voluntary cartels didn't work, what did they turn to? The progressives and the progressive movement, and then what was then the Republican Party. But the progressive movement that we read about in school to stabilize the prices. And they didn't keep the prices artificially low, but artificially high in the face of competition. Because of course, when you regulate, you reduce competition and people entering the market and bringing the price down by half, by 3/4, by more, and benefiting everyone. So what we really see is not a war on. There is a war on workers and the working class in some sense, but what we see in this case is not a war on workers, but a war on us as people, as consumers, and on entrepreneurs and innovation. Because the way to keep our prices artificially high was to increase more and more regulation to stabilize prices.
Well, not to mention intellectual property.
There's great examples of this in history. You can look at the poultry industry. It was the gentleman from Georgia, Purdue country, that introduced all this federal legislation on poultry handling and processing. So in the 50s, in this country, any little town I grew up in that had 4 villages, and there was like literally 10 or 15 different mom and pop butcher operations where you could bring your chickens or bring your pig or bring your sheep or whatever and have it done. And there was over 16,000 registered slaughterhouses in the United States for like meat packing. Today, I think there's less than 1,000, and they're all mega huge.
What did you say the name of that book was?
It's Big Business and the Rise of American Statism by Roy A. Childs.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the call. It definitely sounds like a fascinating read. 855-450-3733.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
You ever feel like you're in jail, a virtual jail, because of your job or maybe your current relationship where you're not allowed to do what you really want? I'm Caleb Jones, and I've taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create low-work, high-income businesses and how to date women under your terms. Come to our free webinar with a live Q&A with me so you can learn how to create location-independent income and date women the way you want. Go to alpha.freetalklive.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
There are basically 2 types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. Call in and talk about whatever is on your mind. That number's 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Aria.
And Jay.
You know, a lot of people today are taking control of their own health. They want to attempt to avoid the pain of getting sick, the lost time at work, and costly medical bills. Well, good nutrition is key to looking and feeling great. But eating right all the time can be a challenge. Or outright impossible. Travel and work schedules can get in the way, or you may not have the desire to shop and cook the right foods. So Balance of Nature has the solution. With just 3 of the Balance of Nature fruit capsules and 3 of their veggie capsules, you get 10 servings of fruits and vegetables, and that's a lot of nutrition. After taking Balance of Nature, people have reported that their skin looks better and the bags under their eyes go away. They have an increase in energy, body pain is reduced, goes away entirely, or they get sick less, or even not at all. Go online and become a preferred customer that gives you the best pricing and free shipping. After your 3rd month, Balance of Nature will ship to you at no charge an additional set of fruits and veggies. But this is a limited time offer, so don't wait. Go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code FTL. Again, that's balanceofnature.com, discount code FTL. You probably eat right, don't you?
I try.
Define right.
So I used to be nearly 300 pounds. And if you look at some of like...
you did?
Oh, yeah. If you look at some of like the Forkfest soapbox idol, for example, 2012, I was like pretty much 300 pounds. I was a big boy. Anyways, what I did is I kind of had a little bit of a... realization that my most valuable, asset is essentially my personal health. And so I kind of wrote myself up a plan of what I'm going to do about, my personal health. And, I don't want to be one of these, old guys that's all crippled up and I need to have the state or my family take care of me. So there's a lot of thin old people out there. There isn't too many fat old people out there. If you kind of look at people in their 80s and 90s, you don't see too many fat people.
That's a really good point.
Yes. And so what I did is I did a candida cleanse to kill the candida that got too wild in my butt, in my gut, I meant to say. And, that's a whole rabbit trail go down. But so I lost some weight there. But when I really lost the weight, and I got down to my low was about 210. I'm about 225, 230. Which I'm a little overweight, but I feel pretty comfortable, and I can do all the work I do, no problem. And is I just stopped eating government-subsidized food. So I didn't eat any corn. I didn't eat any wheat. Now, I would consume organic, grains somewhat, and I just didn't buy anything off the shelf, anything packaged. I was drinking some Red Bulls. I stopped with the Red Bull. I started doing bulletproof coffee, which is coffee, and you blend butter from grass-fed cows and coconut oil in a blender, and that's essentially bulletproof coffee, and which I learned about from Ernest Hancock. And I got, in a not too long a time, maybe 3 months, I went from like 270 something to like, probably the low 220s. And I didn't really work hard at it, but I just refused to eat anything government subsidized. Now, there's all kinds of stuff that's government subsidized.
The big issue with that is the home-cooked meal aspect seems to be significantly more important than anything, in my experience. I mean, in my experience, the people who are overweight are the people eating McDonald's and Burger King and Taco Bell and things like that.
And a lot of it wasn't home-cooked food. I was like traveling between here and Colorado a lot, and I maintained that.
Well, I don't necessarily mean it has to be cooked at home, but
I would stop at a grocery store and buy like sweet potatoes and wrap them up in tin foil with some butter and some coconut oil and cook them on the manifold of my truck. That's how I started eating. I started, made sure I ate a couple organic apples a day, and I bought, locally grown, and I bought, food and produce from people I knew, and stuff that was just in its natural form, even if it's not organic. It's just, no vegetable is really subsidized.
Yeah, see, I don't really have time for that.
Corn's not
Let's go to the phones, though. We got Jerry calling from Oregon. Jerry, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going? What's on your mind? I'm sorry.
Savings thing earlier on the show.
Can you speak up a little bit?
It was about the daylight savings time thing earlier on the show.
Okay.
So the Mayans actually had a really good calendar. Well, that was during the year 2000. Everybody thought everybody.
Yeah, man, your signal is. I'm only catching about 1 out of every 5 words you're saying. I heard you say that the Maya had a really good calendar, but that was it.
Can you hear me now?
I mean, go ahead and retry to make your point.
The Mayan calendar, they say it was most accurate, but
yeah, sorry, man. I get what you're saying, that the belief is that the Maya calendar, and it's the Maya calendar, not the Mayan calendar, is the most accurate. I don't know. I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories surrounding that whole thing, but it's all just arbitrary measurements of celestial bodies that ultimately have no real significance in our lives.
I like to use the Hebrew calendar, especially from a legal standpoint.
I like to use the Japanese calendar because why not?
Yeah, use what you like.
Yeah, to me, it is now December the 22nd. Because why not? It's all completely made up. It's complete fiction that humans take seriously because it gives our lives rules and order and some sort of semblance of meaning. But
I'll tell you why.
It's 4 p.m. on December the 22nd for me.
I'll tell you why. Because the Gregorian calendar is copyright property of the Vatican Church. They invented it, and the states are charged to enforce this copyright. And when you use a date of birth, you're essentially using copyright of the state. Every time you have an interaction with the government, they want to know your name and date of birth. And I don't have a date of birth. I'm not a Gregorian. I don't use the Gregorian timeline. I have a.
Now, what if you consider January 1st, 00 to be the day on which you were born? So whatever day that was in the Gregorian calendar, it's your January the 1st, year 00, or year 01 to be simplistic.
Then you wouldn't essentially.
You'd be using the same calendar, but starting in a wildly different place. Like today may be March the 15th for you.
Well, so this copyright claim that's enforced by all these copyright courts, because we don't have courts of law, you get a traffic ticket, you're not in a court of law. You're in a copyright court. They're enforcing copyright whether you like it or not or agree with me or not. You have no rights in that court. And anybody who's ever been to court before realizes you don't have any rights. So that being said, I won't use the Gregorian timeline, but I'll use other timelines that aren't part of their system, and it drives them nuts because they can't even hold a charge against you unless you consent to essentially be using a date of birth. Just try it.
Well, I mean, they can do whatever they want with or without your consent, right? If they want to stick a charge on you, they're going to.
I tell them I'm not that entity that they're charging with the date of birth.
I mean, you can do that, but if they want to, they can still put a gun to your head and kidnap you.
Yeah, I mean, they could if they wanted to, I guess. But if they're going to do it to anybody, if they really wanted to push the issue, I mean, I don't have a driver's license. And where I grew up, they all know it, and they don't bother me and any of my brothers. But we're not. I tell them I'm not using your copyright. I even had an interaction here with a state on New Hampshire town, Molten Barrel, the local police, and they just walked away. They're like, what do you mean you don't have a driver's license? You need to have a driver's license to drive down the road. I'm like, I'm not part of your society. And
I completely get the reasoning here, but I'm amazed that has ever led to anything but an arrest.
Several times for me now.
I'm sure.
At least 5.
Oh, you mean you walked away without an arrest?
Absolutely.
With 5 times saying that?
More than 5, actually, yeah. Yep.
Wow. I would not
saying
have
a lot
guessed.
more than what I just said.
Right.
But, each time's a little different. And you got to be kind of good on your, on the move with it, but
because cops are not trained to think. They're trained to obey orders, and those orders say that if you don't jump through all the hoops, you're going to jail. 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Jake was in big trouble with the IRS. He owed how much?
$92,000.
Ouch. The IRS left no room for Jake to breathe.
They put a lien on my house, took all the money out of my bank account, took money out of my paychecks. So it was a nightmare.
He needed help fast.
I figured that all these companies were the same until I called Federal Tax Management. You could just tell they knew what they were talking about. Right then and there, I felt like I had some hope.
Stop the liens, levies, and garnishments fast and qualify for one of several special IRS programs that could reduce or even eliminate your tax debt. So, how'd it go for Jake?
They did what they said they would do. They came through for me. I ended up saving an unbelievable amount. I was so jazzed. I was extremely happy.
If you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes, take Jake's advice.
Give Federal Tax Management a phone call. If they help me, they can help anybody.
Call the Federal Tax Management Hotline now. 800-503-8625. 800-503-8625. 800-503-8625.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
Live video of our key New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. Call in now. If you're quick, you can still get on the air with us. That number's 855-450-3733. And with you tonight, it's Aria.
And Jay.
I want to say thank you to Curry Taylor, who is a silver amplifier. You can find the AMP program at amp.freetalklive.com. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. The money that you contribute there goes strictly to advertising, marketing, and promoting Free Talk Live. So if you like what we're doing and you want to help spread the message of Free Talk Live, go check out the AMP program. It's the best way to do that. You can give as little as $5 a month to join the program. It comes with a number of perks like the AMP-only Discord room and AMP-only call-in line on Discord, the AMP Facebook room or group, whatever, and some other cool features. And we hugely appreciate any help people want to give to help us spread the ideas of liberty. Again, that's amp.freetalklive.com. Curry Taylor, thank you so much for your contributions. I hope you're still enjoying the show. So the Amazon Ring thing, as it turns out, as a result of a Gizmodo investigation, which began last month and ultimately revealed the potential locations of up to tens of thousands of Ring cameras, has cast new doubt on the effectiveness of the companies, that's Amazon's, privacy safeguards. Because when these companies produce this technology, they always say, oh, well, we promised we're protecting your privacy, right? Amazon has said it, Facebook has said it, Twitter has said it, Google has said it. They all, like totes for real, promise they are taking your privacy seriously.
Well, like Pope Nobody has said several times, in every large organization where there is several people employed, to where like Google and Amazon and all these, there's thousands of employees, there is a percentage of those employees will be an absolute psychopath. There is an absolute psychopath in every major corporation. And those guys, you know, that's where the back door is. It's like working on, you know, these newer electronically controlled diesel engines and stuff. You can always get in there and tweak them and do whatever you want to them. And the guys who have the technology and the computers and the software to do this stuff, from like Cummins and, you know, Caterpillar, they can do all kinds of crazy things. And it's the same exact thing with all the other hardware and software and everything else.
It seems that Ring was a sort of home surveillance system. And by taking the data from nearly 65,800 individual posts shared by people who were using an app called Neighbors, the posts going back 500 days from the point of collection offer extraordinary insight into the proliferation of Ring video surveillance across American neighborhoods and raise important questions about, you know, privacy trade-offs and things like that. So they had this surveillance network of entire suburbs, cities even.
Does
all vulnerable to the internet. And evidently, people could just... there were hidden geographic coordinates connected to each one of these posts, latitude and longitude, so you could pull people's location from this very data.
So they were posting on like a Ring chat platform or Neighborhoods app.
Neighbors app.
Neighbors app, yes.
I'm not sure exactly where they were posting the data, but they were using the Neighbors app in order to do it.
And they were posting basically stuff about
where they were, and presumably the camera feeds.
And yeah, so this app you could, so yeah, if you lived in a neighborhood here and you had cameras all around the house and you post on this app, maybe that might work with Ring, I don't know, but I heard something about this, to where you could, you know, to help your neighbors, you know, something got stolen from your neighbor's house. So your camera points across the street. So they just it got to the point, I guess, to where Ring could just access anyone's camera to help law enforcement. I heard an article about that.
Evidently, Neighbors has millions of users and is advertised as a way to receive real-time crime and safety alerts from local law enforcement. Yeah, because if you want alerts, it's from local law enforcement and other Neighbors users nearby. So presumably, yeah, it was sort of like Cell 411, except done by Amazon and completely insane.
Right. And just to think, if you buy anything from Amazon, that's going to be a camera, just like any phone that you buy, Samsung can totally access it. Google can totally access your phone. I mean, they're listening to us right now, so you just have to assume that none of this stuff is secure.
Well, we're broadcasting a show on the air. We know they're listening to us.
Right, but
and
I'm
that's
saying
fine. But
they're listening to your radio in your car through your phone when you're driving down the road, because it's always listening to you.
In cities where police partnered with Ring, police officers had access to special law enforcement portals through which officers could request access to Ring footage. They could choose a date, a time, and a location on a map, and Neighbors users with cameras in the vicinity are alerted. Ring says police aren't told which specific camera owners received the request, ostensibly to ensure that there are no repercussions for refusing to cooperate. So you did at least have to allow the police, or you had to allow them to look through your camera feed. They couldn't just do it.
I'm sure they could there's a way for them to just do it.
Yeah.
And
the user's exact locations are obfuscated, but we know from Google Maps that that's a complete farce.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
It shows a map here of just density of Ring cameras throughout, I don't know, a city. The map itself is really blurred, but the density of users here is absolutely terrifying. I mean, you don't need cameras on street corners like you have in London. If you can get every neighbor within a town, a city, a suburb, or community to set these things up for the state.
Yeah, and the bottom line is Amazon is very happy to play ball with the state.
They are. So, nevertheless, using the hidden coordinates, quote, hidden, Gizmodo was able to produce detailed maps depicting the locations of tens of thousands of Ring cameras across 15 U.S. cities, with varying degrees of accuracy. Selected as a representative sample, the cities include Los Angeles, Houston, Seattle, Boston, Chicago, among others. So just looking at a tiny fraction of this network, they were able to create detailed maps showing what these places looked like and what was going on there and where these cameras were located.
Imagine what Hitler could have done with this technology.
Yeah. And that's one of the striking differences between the UK and the United States, right? The UK, it's just the state putting these things up and the police monitoring them and all of that, right? They're socialists.
And it's expensive and intrusive.
The United States, however, are fascists. So they have Amazon do this nonsense instead. So it's not the state actually doing it. The state is just subsidizing it and working directly with Amazon, but they have that veil of this independent quasi-private company that's responsible for all of this, and it just so happens to be identical in practice to what the socialist government of the UK has done to monitor its citizens.
And Amazon could not become what it is today, the size of it money-wise, without the help of the state.
So Gizmodo estimates that they located about 20,000 Ring cameras, although the total number of locations up for grabs. This is all the more reason to stay away from Amazon. I mean, I can't imagine being so detached from the digital world that I would install an Amazon device in my house.
I have friends that all of a sudden...
And I say this with the Facebook app installed on my phone. Facebook, however terrible they are not as bad as Amazon.
I have friends that get an alert. They're like, oh, UPS just dropped something off. And if you can see that from your phone, as far as I'm concerned, there's somebody either that works for your phone service or for the other. Anybody else can see it too, as far as I'm concerned, if you can get it to your phone.
Well, there's a group that Kaspersky Labs, an antivirus software company, identified as the Equation Group that is strongly believed to be the NSA. And they're capable of intercepting these UPS shippings and things like that in order to infect hard drives, hardware, and other devices with malware on their way to their destination.
Oh, literally taking routers and putting specialized NSA chips into them and then package them back up and ship them to the end user, right? Yeah.
Yes. And this happens in the United States. There have been documented cases of like CDs that have been intercepted and replaced with almost identical CDs, except they had malware on them. And it's the Equation Group, almost certainly the NSA, that is actually doing this.
Some of them have actual hardware installed into them.
Yeah, so monitoring UPS tracking, or God help us, USPS tracking, they already have access to that data. It's a really simple matter to just hop into that truck, install a chip, and be done with it. And Amazon will help them do it. This has been Free Talk Live. Head on over to freetalklive.com. Check out the archives there going back 10 years since podcasting began, evidently. We'll be back same time tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This has been Aria.
And Jay.
Balance of Nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
Scientific research has shown that many cancers and lifestyle diseases can be prevented with a diet rich in fruits and vegetables. This prevention comes from the phytochemicals in the plants. They fight against oxidants that damage the cell's DNA, causing mutations that lead to disease. In my lab, I've seen the immune response increase, I've seen your DNA repair capacity increase, and I've seen DNA protection. As a scientist, I know that balance of nature works.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. Call or go online now and become a preferred customer, which gives you our best pricing and free shipping. And we will take an additional 35% off of your first order. This will be a limited time offer, so don't wait. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code FTL.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want to do